You found Radio Free Tennessee. Your Tony Basilio show will begin momentarily. Keep it locked in right here at TonyBasilio.com and on your Tony Basilio app. And hey, do us a favor. Spread the word.
Listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
I want to encourage you to head over to tclub.team today, where we write about the guy I think will be Tennessee's next defensive coordinator, perhaps by the end of today, as I'm getting ready to put on our Twitter communique for folks to see what we're doing here. Vols have their defensive coordinator and what it could mean. As I welcome you in, we've got TGMD in the house along with Brian Hartman. We're all pretty excited today. Hey, Heupel gave us a jolt. I've also dug into the backstory on this deal and what it all means. And but we believe the Vols have their defensive coordinator and what it could mean. We're going to project ahead for you a little bit here, as we are wont to do. And it's an interesting little deal here. Obviously a developing story. Obviously, I'm not going to speak in absolutes because he's not hired yet. But I'm going to give you what I think's going on because, there's a time and a place here. So, if you look on today's blog over at tclub.team, what you'll see is there were two names at the top of that list. And one was the slam dunk. This is who's going to get hired unless something strange happens here. And if that's the case, then the James Madison defensive coordinator becomes the next one on the mic. Talking to people just all around the sport, talking to people around this thing today, getting a sense for where this is going, communicating with people that are on the beat, etc. It is my belief here as we sit here on Tuesday that Tennessee's defensive coordinator, barring the unforeseen, and again, you never know with this stuff, but I think they're crossing the T's and dotting the I's. All signs are pointing toward Ryan Walters being the DC. Now, I'm not going to put a timetable on it because I'm not going to play God here. But I do know this. There's an urgency in doing this quickly, according to people I've talked to around Heupel's deal, because they don't have... Heupel's been very methodical when it comes to filling these spots. They don't have the time to do that today because you've got the transfer portal. And this person they're going to bring in may want to bring his own people with him, may want to bring some players. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I believe Tennessee's number one candidate, as I wrote today over at tclub.team, and Matt's going to break this down scientifically for us, and John Adams has now jumped in here, and everybody's been apprised of what's happening here. Ryan Walters is the guy that I believe is Tennessee's defensive coordinator of choice at this point in time. I believe at this hour it's his job. Unless something happens weird. Again, you can't speak in absolutes because I don't think it's done yet. but I think it's very, 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 very close to done. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if something happened later today. But we do expect something to break. When in fact it becomes Ryan Walters, if in fact it becomes Walters, but I believe it's him. And I also believe that one guy you'll see come with him, according to people I talked to, is Brian Odom, who's an inside linebackers coach. And again, we talk about Josh Heupel as a comfort of creature. Ryan Walters and Heupel cross paths at Missouri. Brian Odom and Heupel are both share the Oklahoma connection. I believe they played together, which would help. And I also think that if in fact they hire Ryan Walters, they're going to give him say over who stays and who goes. But this would continue a pattern of Josh Heupel hiring people that he's comfortable with. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're comfortable with the right people. But I was told in digging since this thing broke, because we were wondering if Heupel would have the stomach, if you'll pardon the pun, to blow out Tim Banks. If it came to that, would he have the stomach to do it? Well, the answer is yes. He had the stomach to do it. Now, I believe that this thing is the interesting thing about this deal is that he got a little nudge. He got a slight nudge from above. But I also believe Josh Heupel was going to do this anyway in talking to some people on the Banks deal. And so let's talk about Ryan Walters as I bring our cast and crew and our panel in. He's the current defensive coordinator at Washington. Really made a name for himself after he left. He was with Heupel back in the late teens at Missouri when Heupel was the offensive coordinator there. And they were pretty successful, together. So he's used to being a DC, or used to coaching, I should say, because he later became the DC there. And then he jumped over to Illinois, where he really made his bones under Brett Bielema. And then he matriculated over to Purdue for an ill-fated appointment as the head football coach there for 2 seasons. They pulled the plug on him. He wasn't a head coach. No shame in that game. Goes out west to Washington and has had a really good defense this past season. Matt, your thoughts on this hire if it happens?
Yeah, well, it's certainly an upgrade over what you've had, and it's something new, which I think maybe even more so than the upgrade. It's just what everyone needed. You got to try something different. You're just kind of are who you were defensively, and you weren't changing a whole bunch. But it's a guy that was a national coordinator of the year at Illinois.
Yep.
Runs a kind of a little bit of a unique defense that requires you to have some really, really good corners that you can trust playing on islands and playing press coverage. So kind of the bigger physical guys that you see in the SEC often at places like Alabama and Georgia. So you need true corners that you can leave on islands.
Yep. There's some questions about it. It can be run on a little bit, but again, just schematically, it's something that Heupel was used to and coached with, and something that Walters is also coached with as well from the offensive side. So you've got to find a way to be more complementary, I think. And obviously Heupel making this move, and if it happens and doing it this quickly, means that he kind of had already been planning on this. It seems like so. Yes.
But no, it's an upgrade. It's an intriguing, hire. Walters checks all the boxes, and with some familiarity with Heupel, which is always key with Heupel. But you just got to find a way to play more complementary football, and I kind of like it. It's something new, and again, it's an upgrade that was kind of desperately needed at this point.
So I'm kind of wondering what we're looking at here in terms of how this is going to go. Obviously, Matt, what kind of hire this is. Obviously, what happens with the staff. Matt, do you think the style of defense is congruent with what's going on in the modern SEC? How does it translate, do you think, Matt?
I mean, it's built to put pressure on quarterbacks.
Yes.
And kind of create chaos and kind of disguise some things. You can have different looks, which is something that Tim Banks' defense just didn't do. They didn't disguise anything.
Yes.
You could kind of motion and scheme them to death because you kind of knew what they were doing. But this, you can, move guys around a little bit, whether they're kind of safeties, linebackers, hybrid, just do a lot of intriguing things. But the premise is it's built around having kind of some lockdown corners that you trust to leave on islands. And when you don't have that, you have what kind of happened to Walters at Purdue, where you just get torched and you give up, program records, every week. So you need guys like Ricky Gibson, McCoy. You're going to have to continue to have guys, really 3 or 4 guys like that every year that you trust and that you can live with playing on islands. So, but when you're able to do that, as we kind of saw last year, even with Banks' defense, when you have guys that you can put on islands and cover guys, it opens up to do a lot on the rest of the field and gives you the ability to be pretty good there.
Yeah, this guy is going to, and he's going to bring their inside linebacker coach with him, I believe, if it comes down. But that's the plan right now. The plan is he'll bring a guy with him. They're going to give him say over the staff as well. And my thing with the Purdue experience is when they were getting ripped apart, when you have 0 players and you're at Purdue, who cares? I don't look at that, because here you're not going to have 0 players. Here, if you know what you're doing, you're going to be able to get your fair share of who you want, what you want, the type of player that you need to execute what you want to do. And at the end of the day, I think this is a risk certainly worth taking. So, Brian Hartman, your thoughts on this pending news, if that's what it comes to?
Well, Ryan Walters is a guy who could extend Heupel's tenure potentially, because he looks like someone who they might be able to keep if he has success. I don't know that the short stint at Purdue, they might shy away from putting him as a head coaching candidate seriously somewhere else for a while. So that might be a plus for the Vols. And so I like the fact that it's a younger guy.
Yep.
I like the fact that I still think he's hungry. I like the fact that he'll bring that energy, I think, that they desperately need on that side of the ball. I just thought Tim Banks just was a flatliner as far as just personality-wise goes, that stood in the box, that stood way up high above the field.
Yeah.
I think your defensive coordinator has got to be sort of a fiery type guy anyway, that needs to be down on the field and inspiring his troops on the field. So I like it from all those other places I mentioned.
So people are, let's bring John Adams in here now, and then I want to talk about some of the composition of the staff. And if, in fact, they get home with Ryan Williams, which we believe that's a candidate du jour, if you go to tclub.team, and look, I dropped the blog late last night. I believe he's the guy, and if it's not him, it's going to be the guy from James Madison. But I believe it's Ryan Williams, and I believe barring
Ryan Walters.
I'm sorry, Ryan Walters. Barring the unforeseen, they're going to get home with him. But John, I bring you in.
Ryan Williams is 19 years old.
Thank you.
The number 3 receiver at Alabama now.
See how many times I call this guy Ryan Williams between now and when he's hired? Or
and
now,
dropped too many passes this year.
Yeah, our DC dropped too many. But we're already criticizing the guy. He had too many drops. And what about his play, our DC, in the championship game? John Adams, presented by Jennifer Morris. Next move, SmokyMountains.com. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, Jennifer Morris. All right. So, John, your thoughts on the developments of the last 24 hours, the firing of Tim Banks, the fact that yesterday I was right before the news broke, I was declaring us an everything stinks school in the spirit of Danny White. This losing streak we're on in basketball. Just can't get any good news, can't get no satisfaction, Mick Jagger. Your thoughts, John, on the developments of the last 24 hours, and then we'll dig in on this Ryan Walters.
Well, I was not totally shocked, but a little surprised because of Josh Heupel's history. He just doesn't fire guys. He's very loyal to his assistants, which can be good, and staff stability can be good.
Yep.
But when things aren't going well, you always have to, as a head coach, the program always has to come first. It has to come before players, assistant coaches, anybody else. Program who's paying you. That's what you're judged on. So he made a decision to fire Tim Banks. Tim Banks will be well paid in his departure, so I'm sure he'll get another job somewhere else. But this didn't work this year, and the fact that every SEC game except Florida, which was pretty much at death's door, it moved the ball, scored more than 30 points on Tennessee. Every team in the SEC except Florida that Tennessee played. That's just, and I think the Vanderbilt game was the tipping point. Just put a real bad punctuation mark behind the season because of that second half with Diego Pavia just, hey, I'm going to go out and win the Heisman Trophy if I can. Can you guys help me? And they got a resounding yes from Tennessee's defense. Defensive strategy, I just didn't understand why they wouldn't be tracking Pavia. There wouldn't be a defensive player assigned to Pavia to cut off those running opportunities that he used time and time again. So that was really flagrant. You didn't have to be a supreme defensive strategist to figure out and question that. So I think it shows that we've seen a couple of changes now with Heupel. He tweaked his offense after last year. The results were good. Now he's hiring a new defensive coordinator. The third thing, and I wrote that last night in my column, he has to be more aggressive in the transfer portal. I think that's crucial. That's more important to me than hiring a defensive coordinator, because you see how teams are winning now. It's through the portal. You can go and do it two ways. You can get massive influx of players, which Ole Miss has done, which Vanderbilt has done, which Indiana has done, and these teams are winning. Or you can be selective like Ohio State. But if you're going to be selective, you can't just get pretty good players. You have to get the elite players like a Caleb Downs, an All-American safety. You got to get All-American types if you do that. But back to the coordinator move. I was looking at Washington. I did a Big Ten SEC top 25 this year for USA Today Network, and so I was kind of cognizant of what's going on with these different teams in the Big Ten. And I thought Illinois' defense was really consistent. Illinois. Washington's defense was really consistent.
Yeah, let's count how many times we did it. I got Illinois on my mind, too, for the bowl game. But the guy guy made his bones at Illinois. It's where he had his greatest success.
And he had great success there. But that team was loaded with defensive talent.
Loaded.
And I don't know the level of talent at Washington, but I know how consistent it was. It didn't give up more than 26 points in the game. Gave up 26 to Oregon, which is a high-level offense. It gave up 24 to Ohio State, another good offense. So I think that's a good sign. Excuse me. One of the things I want to see in a defense coordinator, though, we didn't see it with Tim Banks this year, and maybe we'll see it with this guy, is to be able to adjust. If your talent, if you can't do what you prefer to do defensively because of a talent shortcoming, can you adjust? And I didn't think Tennessee could do that this year. You need to be able to do that in the SEC. That's one reason I don't know what Justin Wilcox's situation is, former Tennessee assistant defensive coordinator under Derek Dooley. He was fired as Cal head coach after a 9-year run. But that was one of the things that impressed me with him in his 2 years that he was here. He adjusted his defense to the level of talent, which wasn't very good in 2010 and 2011. You don't know what might happen. Your talent level may rise and fall. You may get injuries like Tennessee did this year. I think that was a big factor, losing those two cornerbacks. I can't, I'm not giving Tim Banks an excuse, because I think you have to be able to adjust to what happens and what attrition you have. Whether you lose guys in the portal, it lost a safety in the portal who started for Miami and had a good season, and lost two cornerbacks to injury. That's three guys, and then Boo Carter was just kind of lost. He was on the team, but he didn't do anything. So, yeah, that if he can do that, but to me, you got to have a guy who can adjust and sometimes alter his philosophy to to deal with the talent level he has and the position strengths and weaknesses he has.
Hey, Matt, I think this is a step forward. I think that just the fact that they stood up and said to this Banks guy, and look, I'm not here to dunk on him, but he sucked. And he was way overpaid, and he didn't do anything. He didn't recruit. He didn't do any media. He didn't do anything. I mean, I'd love that gig. Gee, I'd love that. Are you kidding me? I'd take that gig 10 out of 10 days.
They're not hiring you.
Well, I know they're not hiring me, but
well,
Matt,
I like what Brian. Like what Brian said about this. I think sometimes when things aren't going well, and I don't, subscribe to the theory that where you got to always have to be animated and enraged on the sidelines, that's going to mean your team's better, whether it's a head coach or a coordinator. But I think there are times when your defense is struggling, you need a guy to fire it up. You need a guy to say, this isn't successful. You guys got to make something happen out there. Tennessee didn't make much happen. So I just think a different voice. If nothing else, I think a different voice as a defensive leader could be a plus for Tennessee.
Matt, as you look into this thing, you feel good about it? If it is Ryan Walters, do you feel good about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's an upgrade, I think. And it's just a much-needed change that just had to be made. You just needed to make a change there. Even though you kind of relied on your defense to make the playoffs last year, it was kind of an anomaly year compared to the other four. So you just needed to change it up and get some fresh ideas there and try to do something a little bit different defensively. Yeah, it's a little bit risky to do that, but it's a guy that's got a pretty good track record. It's a guy that's been a head coach before that, maybe that can help you a little bit in some ways. And it's a guy that, you talked about, he was at Missouri when Heupel was running this offense and put the defense in bad spots. Cause I do think you've got to figure out a complementary football way that you found last year kind of by accident. And, you didn't have a passing game, so you had to be a little bit more run heavy and ball control, but you've got to be able to be complementary, and whatever path, whatever philosophy and scheme Heupel thinks is best defensively to pair with his offense is what they kind of need to go with. And it's, again, it's a little bit risky. It's always risky when you do this, but it's definitely a risk worth taking.
I think this is a step forward. Obviously, they're trying to work out the details. I think it's going to be him. Barring the unforeseen. Again, around here we've seen so much screwy stuff. I'm never speaking in absolutes till I see the press release, but I believe that Washington defensive coordinator Ryan Walters is the man of the hour. He is the candidate. He is the guy to watch. And I believe he's also going to bring Ryan Odom with him, who's an inside linebacker coach. And we can kind of look him up. People are wondering what happens with the rest of the staff. Let's guesstimate on that. I've asked around a little bit. And in light of what's getting ready to happen here, let's piece that together on the other side and see what we can come up with. And I'd want to hear from you at 865-200-5402. Now, some of these goofs over in the YouTube channel, no offense to you, and I appreciate you watching us over there on our YouTube channel, but some of you, let's put it this way, you ain't splitting an atom anytime soon. And y'all don't like us higher, some of you, which makes me feel better about it. Because the only thing I agree with some of you guys on is that there's daylight outside, and then at nighttime we can't see anything. Other than that, I'm not sure I agree with much, because some of you are absolute punks and absolute clowns. But we will come back on the other side. Let's see what we can piece together here in terms of who stays, who goes, what happens as we continue with more after this. Living Vol fan, make Alumni Hall your one-stop shop for all your Vol fans on your shopping list this holiday season. There's nothing better than getting your favorite Tennessee gear under the tree. Picture it, a nice polo shirt, a new hoodie, something for the man cave. Pop in and see my friends at Alumni Hall. Best selection of Tennessee gear. Alumni Hall, 3 Knoxville locations, Bristol, Johnson City, Murfreesboro, or online at alumnihall.com. It's easy to have a big orange Christmas. And happy holidays from everyone at Alumni Hall. The ultimate volunteer shopping experience. Alumni Hall. Calhoun's invites you to leave the cooking to us all holiday season long. Between now and the end of the year, feast without the fuss when you host at the holidays. Don't you dare cook. Go absolutely next level with this offer. Between now and the first of the year, Calhoun's is offering an incredible deal on delicious turkey or prime rib dinner. You could feed from 5 to 10 people at your home holiday gathering, not lift a finger of preparation. The turkey dinner comes with amazing sides like mashed potatoes, peas, melt in your mouth gravy, dressing to die for, fresh rolls, cranberry sauce, and homemade cheesecake. And that prime rib dinner features amazing melt in your mouth prime rib, fresh mashed potatoes, au jus, green beans, gravy, rolls, horseradish sauce, and delicious fresh baked cheesecake. This amazing offering is available now through the new year. Call to place your order today. More information found at holidayfeedpack.com. Again, that's holidayfeedpack.com. Feast without the fuss this holiday season with Calhoun's, the taste of Tennessee. When it's time for your next move, you want to get your precious belongings from point A to point B with your peace of mind intact. That's why you need to call my friends at Gouffon Moving and Storage, East Tennessee's moving legend. Gouffon Moving and Storage has been helping East Tennesseans move since 1887. That's 138 years, 5 generations. That's even longer than the Dooley, Jones, and Pruitt era combined. Gouffon Moving and Storage are pro movers, serving Knoxville, surrounding areas, and interstate moves too, both residential and commercial. And we'll provide you with personalized service that other corporate movers simply cannot. We know how to move all types of items. We pay careful attention to our clients' valuables. Your satisfaction as a customer is our absolute priority. As the oldest continually owned and operated family moving business in the United States, when it's time for your next move, it's Gouffon Moving and Storage. And storage, it's secure and vaulted. Our newest offering of commercial storage logistics, we offer receiving, storage, and delivery services for all your business logistic needs. See more at Gouffon.com. That's Gouffon.com. Or check out the link at tclub.team. When it's time for your next move, East Tennessee's moving legend, Gouffon Moving and Storage. Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect,
you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Inward Half is committed to the game and the memorable moments that happen in between. From the tee box to the tailgate, from the green to the big game. For the first birdie with Dad, the first big win with Mom. Friday night lights, Saturday superstitions, Sunday traditions. Fall into the comfort and unparalleled performance of Inward Half. This fall, enjoy the walk-in.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires, just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776, or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Holiday cooking? Holiday guests? Your drains will be working overtime. Avoid clogs and backups this holiday season with Pipe Wrench. We'll clear your clogged drain for $99. Guaranteed to work or it's free. With Pipe Wrench Home Services same-day service guarantee, our certified plumbers get there fast and have the tools and expertise to clear the most stubborn clogged drains. And if we can't clear it, you don't pay for it. Have other plumbing or HVAC problems? We make it easy with free on-site estimates on replacements and free second opinions on repairs. So call or schedule your appointment online at pipewrench.com and we'll clear your clogged drain for $99 or it's free. We are committed to keeping your home cozy and worry-free this holiday season. Pipe Wrench Home Services, trusted in Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and neighboring communities for over 20 years. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free. For residential main lines only and requires clean-out access. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
TB here with Alan of WeShipFloors.com. Tell them about it, Alan.
Hey, I'm Alan from WeShipFloors.com. Our competition's prices, well, they're going up. Ours are coming down. Our waterproof floor Supercore is the best, and right now it starts at $199 a square foot. Our warehouses are full of 4mm, 6mm, and 8mm. You strapped for cash? Well, we have our own in-house financing. Use our room visualizer and order some free samples today. Supercore from WeShipFloors.com. Best products at best price.
Like Alan said, head over to WeShipFloors.com. Use the room visualizer on the website. Drop in any of the 120 Supercore floors virtually into your room and order your free samples today. WeShipFloors.com. Tennesseans, they are us. The best product, the best price. WeShipFloors.com. T to the B back with you, 865-200-5402. We believe the Vols have their next defensive coordinator. All that awaits is putting the thing to bed. But I believe that Ryan Walters is their choice. And what are the ramifications therein? One of the things, and I want to kind of pivot to this because I want to talk about staff makeup here in a second, but one of the things that, in talking to some people about the challenge of bringing somebody in here, really the challenge here is twofold, finding a defensive coordinator. First of all, the college football world knows how the season ended and knows that the fans are at Heupel's throat and understands the life cycle of these guys. So you got a head coach going into his sixth year that hasn't won a league championship, but has made the playoffs, but the clock is certainly ticking on him. So I was told that, this guy's going to want a 3-year deal. Anybody would. I was told that another thing that would shrink the pool, Matt, is the pace of play. The pace of play would scare away certain defensive coordinators. Matt, do you buy that? And what are your thoughts, if you could elaborate on that?
Well, it's certainly a factor in this, and especially the last time the job was open, it was a huge deal. I think the job's a much more attractive, infinitely more attractive job than it was when Heupel got hired, just because you've seen results on the field and you're not late in the cycle and you've got a program that's kind of stable. But I think there is some truth to that. I don't know how much it matters to coaches. I think it's kind of a perception that probably fans make a bigger deal of than coaches do, but I do think it's fair that pace of play and being able to play complementary and having your defense on the field so much is real. We saw Tennessee go away from that last year because they kind of had to and be a little bit run heavy, but you're bottom 10 in time of possession, virtually every year under Heupel. Defense is on the field a ton, and that's very true and fair. And that's part of something I think Heupel needs to maybe evolve on a little bit and not be so reliant on the tempo and the doing it constantly, because he's shown he doesn't need to go uber fast to scheme guys open and create plays. He can do that, as is. And just the way the rule changes have kind of took away some of the advantages of tempo. And they've really shortened games. You have less plays and less possession. So efficiency has to matter more than trying to hit a play over top, every other possession. You've got to value your possessions a little bit more. And getting away from tempo, helps your defense a little bit some as well. It's something I think Heupel could probably look into, that still use tempo plenty, but maybe not have it be your part of your base offense.
John, what do you think? Because to Matt's point, these defensive coordinators, just like with OCs, one of the things that we do is we look at the numbers. One of the first things you did when you were looking up Ryan Walters, as this name percolated, and it's at the very tippy top of the board. I think, barring the unforeseen, he's going to be your new DC. That said, one of the first things we do is look at these defensive numbers. And look, when you're all these guys want to put up good numbers and don't want to be on the field all the time. If you're on the field all the time, chances are you're going to give up points and you're not going to be way on up there. John, what's your view that it might shrink the population of because Butch Jones used to talk about populating the football, which always reminded me of Travis Henry. So, but populating the football side, the more you're on the field, the more worn down you get. Does Matt have a good point that maybe it's time to revisit just the whole approach here, and you don't have the weapon you once did by going fast?
Well, just looking at the stats, Tennessee scored a lot of points this year. It's a top 10 offense. Mm-hmm. So however you get to that point, it doesn't matter to me.
But John,
but
it's a top 10 offense against defenses that couldn't play. When it gets on the field against defenses that really could play, it's an okay offense. Let's be real about our offense this year. Come on now.
Well, it scored 41 points on Georgia.
Okay.
But
Bino
also went 8-4.
Thank you, Matt. It also went 8-4. Thank you.
Yeah, I just think you got to do what's best on offense. If it's using some tempo, not as much, if that's what works and you can move the ball better that way, that's fine. I don't want to have to go in with the idea that, to have a better defense, I'm going to have to cut down on my offense. I want to be able to score as much as I can. Mm-hmm. We've seen Hype tweak the offense between the 24 and 25 season. So he's been willing to do that. They changed it up some, going back to how they were when he first came here, and they scored so many points in 21 and 22. So, I mean, whatever it takes, I think with the coordinator, if you hire a coordinator, if that's an issue, and I can see where it might be, then you pay more. And I think Tennessee's willing to do that. That's why you give a longer contract. You give him a 3-year contract and you pay more. Tim Banks was well paid. He was well paid. He had a decent contract, and now he's got a nice buyout. So that, to me, is how you compensate. But I think Josh Heupel has to figure out, when we go back and we look at the offense, we saw one of the criticisms and a fair criticism, I thought, was game management, clock management, that kind of thing with Josh Heupel. It wasn't so much whether it was going up tempo or not. I just think he could have managed game situations and clock situations better.
Matt, what do you think?
No, you certainly need to improve the in-game, the time management, and coach those kind of late clock situations. You've definitely got to figure out what all went wrong there and fix that for next year. And I don't mean taking away from how good the offense is. I just mean being more efficient with it, and not having so many wasted plays and wasted possessions. That's the key. Because I think Heupel is a good enough offensive coach that you don't have to, catch teams out of position and with deep balls on quick snaps. And defenses have adjusted to that a lot now. Defenses are a lot more prepared for the up-tempo stuff. It's not as much of an advantage as it once was. I just think you've got to find that balance between playing fast and playing aggressive and scoring points, but also not just continuing to put your defense in awful spots and have your defense on the field for, 35 and 40 minutes in some of these big games.
Do you think
that you want somebody who's confident that it's not going to be, I can't coordinate a defense if the offense scores too quickly or we're on the field so much. You want a coordinator who's confident in his own ability to adjust to that. I would.
I had an emailer yesterday after the announcement of Banks firing. He said, well, instead of firing Tim Banks, why don't you use that and paying him that money? Why don't you invest that money in getting better defensive players? I think there's something to be said for that. Tennessee had better defensive players in 24, and the defense was really good. I don't think Tim Banks became a different coordinator this year over last. But that's, I think a coordinator change was needed, just the way the season unfolded, played out. But I do think, and this is why I keep going back to the portal. I just think it's about talent has so much to do with it. If you've got the NIL money, you can get the best players, defense or offense. I look at and go back. Tony doesn't like me always bringing up Texas Tech, but look at the defense that Texas Tech has. I don't know how good its coordinator is. He may be a genius for all I know, but I do know he's got a lot of future NFL players on his defense. If you get that kind of defensive talent, and they got it through the portal, they built their defensive front four through the portal, you're going to have a pretty good defense. It won't matter who the coordinator is.
Well, Tim Banks, in his 4 of his 5 years here, could have spelled his name with a C, because as a nun in St. Pat's school, Catholic school used to say to me, the C says K and the word is suck. So she was talking about the word success.
You had some pretty cool nuns, Tone, growing up.
She would go, success, brother. The C says K and the word is suck. Know it, brother. Anyway, so Tim Banks, the C says K and the word is sucks, BANCS, sucked 4 out of 5 years. The 1 year he was good, they had players. So players, certainly, if you want to take your entire approach and go hire, like Texas Tech did, go hire some coach that nobody's ever heard of to be your head coach, which is what they did, and go put all your money in your roster and let the good times roll. Sure. I mean, I thought Joey McGuire was a character in a movie. Show me the money, which is pretty ironic. I know it's Jerry, but it's Joey, and it'll work. But John's got a good point. Here's the thing, though. This Odom guy, this is interesting because this continues Josh Heupel's creature comfort ways, Matt. Brian Odom, who I believe is coming with this Walters guy when the hire's made. Brian Odom, as I look up his bio, is a guy that has some defensive coordinator experience. He was a co-DC linebackers coach at USC. That's Barry Odom's brother, which is kind of interesting, right?
No, it makes sense. And that's the coaching trees connect in a lot of ways there.
And that's the tie. Yeah. Because if you remember, Barry was at Missouri before. What happened to him at Missouri, Matt? I don't, because he was pretty good there for a while.
Yeah, it's interesting because they were very offensive heavy, and Walters was the DC or co-DC, and they kind of weren't very good defensively, and he's the a defensive mind. And then they let him go, and he had a couple of DC jobs, I think at Arkansas, and then was at UNLV for a year. Mm-hmm. And now he's at Purdue, which is really kind of interesting that they hired Odom right after they had Ryan Walters, because Odom and Walters are kind of very similar coaches. So it's kind of weird that Purdue went that route again. But I've always thought Barry Odom's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, me too.
Really good X's and O's guys.
Me too.
I don't know why it doesn't quite work out. Like, I think he's a better coach than the results are. Maybe he just doesn't recruit well and isn't really an NIL portal guy. But
it's funny. It's funny you mentioned.
We'll see.
Well, it's funny you mentioned NIL because he's a guy that one of my buddies happened to be in the facility at UNLV. It's like in the industry, and he said that he could hear him screaming at that quarterback. I forget the quarterback's name, Matt, but they had that falling out where that kid wanted more money.
He quit mid-year, and he's now the backup at James Madison.
Yeah, he told him. He screamed at him and said, "Get the hell out of my office! What are you doing? Wants more money at mid-season?" He goes, "You suck. What do you mean you want more money? Get out."
Matt hit on it, Tony.
Yeah.
Barry Odom didn't recruit well enough. There was a year when there were a lot of highly rated blue chippers in the state of Missouri. It was an unusual year. And Missouri just almost, I don't know if it went 0 for the class, but it got very few of those guys. And that was the problem with Barry Odom. He didn't recruit well enough. And I think he is a good defensive coach, and I think he showed that at UNLV. I don't know if anybody can win at Purdue right now. They need to invest a lot more in that program. In fact, if I were Barry Odom, I don't know why in the world he would leave UNLV for Purdue. That to me is a bad move.
I agree with that. Purdue's a graveyard job. That's what Purdue is. Especially now
Purdue
with Indiana's...
hasn't been anything since Drew Brees left their campus.
Hey, you're right,
really,
Brian. And especially with the Indiana doing what they're doing now, they're really
they're surrounded by. They're kind of like Auburn. They're surrounded by all these programs that are just more resourced, like Notre Dame, Indiana now, even Illinois to a degree. Northwestern's had success. Wisconsin. They're just really in a tough spot.
We believe Ryan Walters is the choice de jour, unless I hear otherwise while we're on the air. That's the position I'm in. I've got a couple boots on the ground and ears to the phone and what have you. The DC is going to get a call on who he's going to work with. The last time around, guys, that's not the way this thing was constructed. It was a shotgun marriage. Tennessee went out and hired the coaches first, and then they brought in the defensive coordinator. This time around, Matt, we're going more conventional.
Yeah, which makes sense, and why you need to get a head start on this, and make sure you have your all your coaches in place when the portal opens, so you can be best prepared to recruit guys to fit what you want to run, because you're obviously having a little bit of a scheme change. Tennessee's secondary was really bad this year, obviously because of the injuries, but this is a very, corner, based scheme where you've got to have really good corners to run what Walters wants. And we saw this year what happens when you don't have corners. And so you're going to have to go out and get, I think, probably 2 or 3, really good corners and hope you can get Ricky Gibson back. And that'd be a really good start.
That is the deal with what this guy wants to do, because we're going to drill down on it. Cassie just sent me some stuff on what this guy likes to do, what this guy wants to do, and I appreciate C chiming in. Heupel, I'm reporting, came to the conclusion after the Vandy game with a nudge from above, and I mean it was a slight nudge. They didn't mandate it. They didn't tell Heupel, hey, you got to make changes. That's not what happened here. This was his doing. Obviously, he's not a, what was the word? He's not a confrontation guy. It's just not who he is. You can see it. You can see it when he interacts with, officials who deserve confrontation. He's just not a confrontational guy. But what they're going to do here is they're going to allow this guy to decide on the staff who goes, who stays, who goes, yada, yada, yada. John, your thoughts on that? And then I'm going to get a little more into detail on that.
Well, I think you're going, as Matt said, I think you're going about it the right way. You want to build your defense. You're making this guy the head coach for your defense. And he needs to have a staff he's comfortable with that can do what he wants to do. I keep coming back, though, to personnel. And I think it's really important, regardless of what position you're coaching. If you have an ability to identify talent, we talk a good recruiter isn't necessarily what a good recruiter used to be, because you're recruiting with money now. You're recruiting with NIL deal. You don't need a great communicator necessarily to get the best players. You need to have the money, and I think Tennessee has those resources. So it comes down to building a staff and a support staff that can identify talent and can identify talent that fits your system. I think Indiana's really done that well. I think Vanderbilt has really done that well. And so when you bring in an assistant coach, you want somebody who won't just be a good coach on the field, a good position coach, but can identify players who fit what he wants to do and then be able to go out and get those players. I think that's really important right now.
So here's the deal. And John Adams joins, presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. He got to go. He got to go, as Doug Dickey once told me when I asked him 25 so years ago. I was interviewing him, and it was back when the Bush administration was doing this gimmick deal where they did a rebate to the U.S., to all the ticket buyers, but to the citizenry. And I asked Dickie, I said, this is me in my young days being kind of a smart ass. I said, hey, Doug, I said, Bush is doing a rebate with the ticket with the citizens. What about a rebate, Doug, for the ticket buyers? And Brian, what did he say to me?
Oh, Tona, I got to go.
Yeah, he goes
Tona.
For the what? I said,
Tona, I got to go, Tona.
I said, like a rebate for the season ticket holders. And he goes, for the what? And then he said, Tona, I got to go. And he hung the phone up on me. So this is what we're thinking here. This is what I'm hearing. I'm expecting changes to happen on the staff besides this defensive coordinator spot. I think he's bringing Brian Odom with him, which would be bad news for this Inge guy, who, Matt, has been around here for a year. Is that right? Inge has been here for a year?
I think 2.
Okay.
Because he was going to go to DeBoer's staff at Bama, and he got hired away from there here. So I think this is his second year here.
It's such a hard thing to follow, because the guy that's also in this thing is the guy from James Madison, who's also a coordinator for 1 year after being a co-coordinator at Alabama. And so these guys are it's all intertwined. It's hard to keep track of. Rodney Garner's been a mainstay here. Rodney Garner's been a real blessing here. Rodney Garner's done a really nice job here. And Rodney Garner, as Matt was saying, or somebody was saying before, had a knee surgery, and, he ain't getting any younger, and he's been at this a long time. And I think if Banks would have stayed, I think Rodney Garner was going to go. I don't know where he was going to go, but I think he was going to go because I don't know that this thing was serious enough for him. I don't know what's going to happen with Rodney Garner. In terms of the Harbin guy, I don't know what's going to happen with him either. I don't think people are really high on his, shall we say, coaching ability around the deal, but he is a dynamic recruiting type. I don't know. I'm just giving you what I'm hearing. The Inch guy, I will say, does make a great practice video. So that's got to count for something. And in terms of Martinez, I think that Martinez has a lot of equity with people because he's a good team guy. And he's a guy that Heupel has had with him for a few stops. And if, in fact, the new DC, whomever it may be, I think it's going to be right now, as of this conversation, I think it's going to be Ryan Walters from Washington, but if the new DC deems that he's got to go, I think they'll reassign him and keep him in some sort of capacity, would be my guess. Heupel's pretty fond of him, and John, you got to give it to old Willie Mo because fans hate the guy, but he's had a great way of staying on the beam. And when they were at Central Florida, he developed a few guys that played in the NFL down there. So he can't be too terrible, can he?
Well, he's been a good recruiter too. That's his history. That he's a good recruiter.
Yep.
Back to Rodney Garner, though. I don't think Rodney Garner's lost anything.
Oh, I agree with that.
I mean, Rodney Garner, man, that's one guy. I mean, if there's an assistant coach I'm keeping on the staff, it's Rodney Garner. I don't care how old he is. I mean, and I can't speak to whether he's declined any, but I don't see. We go back to last year, the way that defensive front played, all those defensive guys when he's rotating 12 players in there. And Rodney Garner at one point was considered the best recruiter in college football.
Yeah, but years
ago.
Yeah, but we're back to this. Your personality, your personality doesn't put money in my bank,
Right, I understand. He developed relationships with players and maintained them. Guys that were recruited by him, they stayed in touch with him throughout their NFL careers. He was really good at that.
Somebody's saying Chop can be the new Garner. No, the problem with the Chop guy that I hear, and I'm not here to speak ill of the guy, but the problem I hear is he's not just tactically, he's just not there. But in terms of his coaching ability, but you can believe that or not. I'm not here to speak ill of it. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing, and I mean, what the hell do I know about it?
Again, back to Rodney Garner, I just think he can, as long as he's been at this, he knows what kind of defense he wants his lineman to play. He knows what he's looking for in terms of size, agility, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I think he would be good at identifying talent. I don't see how he couldn't be with all his experience and identifying players that want, that would fit what he wants to do. So I would give him a lot of leeway as a coach. I don't, whoever I bring in, if they say, well, I don't want Rodney Garner on my staff, that would be a deal breaker to me.
Somebody said it best. Chop doesn't have the chops right now. No offense.
There's on an unrelated deal here. Utah is going to enter a private equity agreement raising $500 million for athletics, which could set a new precedent.
That's
Ross
where we're
Dellinger
going.
Says,
Matt's laughing at that, but that's a significant story, and here's why. Because these people are spending themselves into Olivia Newton-John right now. The Saudi oil money is right around the corner. Those of you that quit watching PGA Tour golf, good for that reason, or whatever you did, get ready to have to make a decision on college football Because these people, you might as well face it, they're addicted to spending. It's the federal government. It's what these people are. But that's an interesting story, Bri. So there we are. How much money are they taking, Bri, from the private equity?
It's $500 million plus. Ross Dellinger goes on to say that Utah Athletics is entering into what could be a $500 million plus equity partnership with Otro Capital, featuring the creation and shared ownership of a for-profit entity to operate athletics.
Here's a really great question for one and all, John. And this is just me saying. Here's a really great question, John. Where and when does all this end? Because it's got to end at some point, right? You on your way out? No? Yes? No?
No, it does.
No, it doesn't.
It does have to end.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. You look what LSU did. It's paying Brian Kelly $53 million to leave.
That's exactly
right. And then he turns around and signs a deal with Lane Kiffin that would pay him even more if things don't work out. And they may not work out with him.
Yep.
It's crazy. So at some point, I don't care how, unless you're just pumping money out of the ground like some of these Texas schools can.
Pump it and pump it. That's what they're doing across the seas as well in the Middle East. And by the way, peace on the streets, peace in the Middle East. John, on the way out, any thoughts for us? And I appreciate you.
Well, thanks for having me on. And I want to go back to one thing you said about your conversation, a young Tony Basilio talking to Doug Dickey and Doug Dickey hanging up on you.
Yes.
And you kind of implied that you were kind of a smart aleck back then.
A smart Allen, yes.
So how is that different from what you are now? Just curious.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, hour number 2, we'll get into some phone calls. I want your thoughts on what we believe is the candidate of more than the moment. I think it's the guy that they're going to hire unless it falls through. No, look, he's going to want a multiple-year deal. I think he's going to want a 3-year deal. I don't blame him. This thing is tenuous. It's not hanging by a thread. But it's certainly, they got to rework their defense. And John's right. No matter what they do with their staff, they have got to hit the ground running with some serious urgency in the portal if we want to be talking about the Josh Heupel era in 12 months. And on that note, we'll take a brief time out and come back on the other side right after this.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Score a TD every time with T3 Vodka. T3 is Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. T3 Vodka is taking the Volunteer State by storm. T3 Vodka, handcrafted in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, where quality isn't just a promise, it's a way of life. Filtered 10 times and 80 proof, T3 Vodka delivers a smoothness that's unmatched. This dedication to excellence has already earned T3 Vodka prestigious accolades. T3 is a 5-time gold medal winning vodka and the 2025 SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner. Whether you're sipping it neat or on the rocks or mixing up your favorite cocktail, T3 Vodka is your choice for a premium, award-winning experience. Score a T3 TD and ask for T3 Vodka by name at restaurants and wine and liquor stores today. Drink it neat, drink it right, drink T3 Vodka and score a touchdown every time. T3, Tennessee's premium vodka. Distributed by Athens Distributing Company. Please drink responsibly.
When it's time for a fresh coat of paint, run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. Interior and exterior, Walker's Painting's been making it beautiful since 1999 across the Knoxville area. New construction, repaints, commercial, residential, free estimates available. And get this, mention you heard Walker's Painting on the Basilio show, 10% off your first job. Let's go! Run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. 865-688-1410. That's 865-688-1410. Walker's Painting, making it beautiful since 1999. Check out the ad at the blog at tclub.team. Walker's Painting.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm gonna hop online and I'm gonna get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama ZZ approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
VIP Play coming soon. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet. Hey there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty. The holiday season is here, and if your plans include unwrapping your new home, then take advantage of less competition and motivated sellers while others are out fighting over parking spots at the mall. Smart buyers are out snagging deals on great homes, and I'm ready to help. Give me a call, 865-694-5904, or reach out at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and as always, go Vols!
Tony, be back with you. 865-200-5402. I want to hear from you. Your thoughts on the developments of the last 24 hours. Yesterday, I was just kind of bumming out yesterday after let's just call this what it was. Matt, you and I were on the air Saturday night. That was depressing watching UT basketball Saturday, was it not?
Yeah, it's really disappointing to get beat and kind of get blown out there the last 10 minutes. Absolutely. But, Illinois is a good team.
Sure.
And they just were kind of a mismatch for you, and they kind of just out-schemed you there in the second half, getting open looks and kick out threes. And they made their shots.
C just shared with me that Saudi oil money, Tony's not around the corner. It's here. So you've got private equity in the deal, but the Saudis are really fascinated with college basketball. United Arab Emirates, this was a blurb last week, but they're putting together a tournament and many people think the Vegas thing is being underwritten by Saudi oil money because the thing makes no sense. They've got TNT there, they've got everybody, and then the arenas, it literally looks like the Fire Festival in the arenas. And Mark in Dallas said that they can't get my ticket right. I'm stuck outside here, and some other people told me that. So they don't even care who goes or who doesn't. It's like we got the Fire Festival going over here, except the acts get paid. So they're starting, and then we'll go to the phones. They're starting another.
Our acts. They actually played games.
Interesting. They're starting another NIL tournament to compete with that Players Era deal in Dubai. It's going to be called the Royal Palm Invitational. This is what they're talking about now, okay? Now, if they go through it, this is going to be crazy. But supposedly, the winner of the Vegas tournament got $1 million on top of the $1 million appearance fee, which is pretty good for your NIL program. That's pretty hardy movement there. $10 million to 8 programs. So hold my beer, Vegas. And then the winner, ladies and gentlemen, so $10 million to appear. That's $80 million right there. The winner of the deal is going to get an additional, hold my Cosmo, an additional, hold my Dos Equis, Lager Especial, Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York, $20 million, $100 million total. It's supposed to come online next year. And Brian said, guys like my man Maury Hanks have been having these events for years and years and years, and college basketball's had these great relationship with him. They're going to run like hell to this thing because they are addicted to the money. And as soon as they get their hands on that money, they will have it spent. Because Dr. Danny got to tear down G10 and build something that literally, Matt, nobody in our fan base wants. Nobody in our fan base wants. Yes or no?
Very few want. Yeah, that's definitely not. And you definitely don't want the entertainment district.
You've got a beautiful stadium that's iconic, that has a great backdrop, that's worth more than just any. There's no price value on it. You can't put a price tag on it. Trev has $20 million for winning a preseason tournament's more than the national championship in football might bring in.
Well, it's funny you'd mention that, Bri, because I'm being told that within the sport itself in hoops, and then we'll go to the phones because Lumbo's got a thought here on this hire. By the way, I want to shout Lumbo out yesterday. Lumbo and Lee called the show, and both those guys brought that Walters guy up to watch him. So, shout out to him. Shout out to both of those fellas. But apparently the UAE, United Arab Emirates, wants to eventually, their goal is to own March Madness. Trev67 says, Tony, what if they wanted to sponsor your overtime? Let me tell you something, dude. I would get on the phone with Wildman Jeff Anderson, who I hope's listening to this program right now, mainstay at KUB, low these many years, who used to have a great gimmick in local wrestling where they would come out with the kendo stick and he had a turban on his head and he would call himself, they would call themselves the Turbinators. And they whipped me one day on the air. I've got an old video of it of them whipping me with a kendo stick, Matt, while I had the
Really?
Oh, yeah. I used to do local wrestling.
Please tell Laura to send that to me sometime.
You want to see that?
I would love to see it. Yeah.
You want to see
that?
Are
you kidding? Do I want to see it?
Trev67, I would put a turban on my head and go, if they gave me that kind of money, I mean, I'm criticizing, college sports for what they're doing, but of course I wouldn't spend like a drunken sailor, but and I would do the whole thing. So I'd commit to the bit, so to speak. I don't know if that's a politically incorrect thing to say, but it's where we're going. Let's go to the phones. Matt, for or against Danny Wood, where do you stand? Then we go to the phones here.
I just think it's kind of unneeded and unnecessary right now. You're in this transition period of with Portal and NIL being in rev share. I think you need to invest in your players and in stuff that's going to actually help you win, as opposed to some entertainment district that's going to have no bearing on whether you win or lose games, because that's what matters and what we all care about a lot more than being happy when we go down there for a game.
It's kind of like a long-standing source of mine told me the other day about the Danny White era. He says, Tony, this guy has surrounded himself with people, his lieutenants. Nobody will say no to him. He said that's how you almost got people killed before the Georgia game this year. And I thought, and that's the reason why they did the cockamamie ban route, because people around the campus itself warned him, but people in his own organization were like, no, you go, man, you go. And if they go through with this thing, it will be highly comical and a total white elephant. It'll be a total white elephant. But let's go ahead and go back to our phones. I love it. Love every minute of it. I would imagine if you polled the fan base on Dannyville, that would probably poll in the teens. But let's go ahead and go to the phones. And let's bring the man, the myth, the legend, Lumbo in the hunt and in the mix with us, who I've been told's on hold. Lumbo, I welcome you in against the backdrop that Tennessee has centered the focus of their search on one man, and it's a guy that you brought up yesterday, and his name is Ryan Walters, and he's from Washington, University of Washington, and he has a history with Josh Heupel, and I would like your thoughts. Go ahead.
Hey, Tone. Yeah, I mean, I probably didn't spend a lot of time watching Washington film each week, like maybe a couple of the other callers. But, yeah, I mean, the games I've watched, I've liked his defenses. Some of the games they've lost there was certainly not because of the defense, it's because of the quarterback. And I think his style matches up with the way Heupel likes to play. Like if you're gonna, if you're going to get beat. Be aggressive, because I just want my offense back there on the field. Heupel's. I know Florida was a corpse, but in that game, when Heupel gets into a play calling rhythm, he absolutely cooks. But he can't get into a play calling rhythm when his offense is on the sidelines and you're getting bled out every drive. It's pretty much exclusively man-to-man, so you better find guys that can cover. Do we have those on the roster? I don't know. But, yeah, I'm excited about it. I like the fact he's been a head coach. It didn't go well at Purdue, but, who wins there? And, he was at Illinois. Their defense was hellacious because, look, he had 4 NFL guys in his secondary.
They were incredible. They were incredible, man. The safety play on that team was, it was Bama championship levels, what it was.
Yeah, and they had a number 5 pick in the draft at corner. That helps.
Yes.
And do we need to find some guys you better find some guys that can cover if you want to play this. Like, for example, I don't know, I can't remember his name, the freshman that played this year. What's his name?
Colton Hood. No, you're talking about the kid from
Ty Redmond.
Ty Redmond from Atlanta. Nice player.
Yeah. Look, I think that kid has a chance to be a good player. He's got a good frame.
Yep.
He's athletic.
Yep.
But he looked like a baby deer out there.
Sure.
He did.
He's an 18-year-old kid. Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah.
Ricky Gibson's a nice player. Those are 2 guys right there that darn right well that next season could probably play competitive corner for you in this defense.
Yeah. Do you think this is on its way to being done, or
yeah.
is it just
yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think he's their candidate. I think he's highly interested. I think it's a matter now of getting the terms right.
Yeah.
Because look, the guy knows, we all know, that Heupel's deal here is tenuous. He's gone into a 6th season, and this guy's going to want a multi-year deal, which is a fair thing, by the way.
Yeah, look, he gets this done. You had a nice signing class. You go beat Illinois and look good doing it. I think people will settle down.
I agree.
He's making the change that everybody wants them to make.
I agree.
And everybody will calm down. But yeah, I like it. And I like the fact he's been in the league.
Matt, any thoughts? Any thoughts on what Lumbo has to say as we kick it around here?
No, we've talked about how important corner play is. I do. It's a good point that Mark brings up that I hadn't thought about the Heupel being in rhythm as a play caller, because they are out of rhythm so often. A lot of times it's both because they score quickly and their defense can't get off the field. But it's a really good point that if you're going to give up points, you might as well, give them up quickly so your offense can get back out there. It's a nice point that I hadn't thought about. That again, talking about that complementary football type, that Heupel's got to figure out a better way to do that, because his teams just haven't been able to do that very much during his tenure.
And Mark, to your point, the defense this year, the games, they were excruciating bleed outs on defense. You're right.
Yeah.
And then Dave and Ackworth would talk about how they would invariably late in these drives do these blitzes that never got home. It looked like they were drawn up somewhere on a napkin. This guy, the adjustments that he made, they literally let Diego Pavia run all the way to New York on them. That's what happened. He wasn't going to be on that stage at the end of the year, but now he's going to be. I guess
he might win it.
He might win it.
Tony.
He might win it. Yeah, he might just win it, depending on the vote. You're right.
I think Sain's out of it, and and about that OSU Indiana, like Indiana's a legit football team.
Yeah.
I think Ohio State was a little distracted during the week. The Heartline stuff, him leaving. They had to spend multiple days trying to get Chris Henry signature to get him into the class. They kind of, they had all the eggs in the Michigan basket. They're still my favorite to win it all, but they're not flawless. Like, the right side of that line is kind of a turnstile, and the back, while good, he's a freshman, and he doesn't really run through contact now. He's not strong enough, but, it was a great football game.
It'd be great for the sport if they got beat.
It didn't mean anything, but it was a great football game.
Hey, it would be great for the sport if they got beat. That would mean the 2 big spenders this year, it didn't pay, because Texas and Ohio State outspent everybody else.
Oh, I'm rooting for them to lose.
Yeah, let somebody else win.
But Tony, keep in mind they've got 5 of the 10 best players in the sport.
Oh, you get no argument from me.
Like it's going to be a tall task to ask somebody to beat them.
You know what's really weird? You talk about the Heartline deal, is the fact that in a lot of their games, and Matt, I want your thoughts on this because you're kind of nerdy with this stuff. Having Carnell Tate on the field with the Smith guy, they only did it 70% of the time, Matt. Why would that be? Why would that be, Matt? What are they trying to prove? I want Matt's thoughts. Matt, what do you think?
Well, because for Ohio State, their season literally didn't start until the Michigan game. I mean, they play so many games that they are not going to be competitive against their opponent that they can just kind of rest guys. The low work management, those guys have been injured a little bit. They were kind of both banged up there towards the end of the year. So they just haven't had to be serious about it. And, not to take anything away from Indiana, but Indiana wanted that Big Ten title game a whole lot more than Ohio State did. Yeah. I mean, Ohio State, that it's just another game to them, but it meant everything to Indiana, and they beat them and won it. But I mean, Ohio State's played, they've waited all season for this. They had to beat Michigan, and they did. And now their season it really didn't start until the last game of the regular season. Yeah. So they had the luxury of being able to kind of coast until now.
I mean, Tony, when in the biggest play of the ball game, you can take like a wide receiver that's heading to Canton, Ohio, off the field to throw to your third string tight end. You just have to do it.
I mean, that right there is on par with what the Sunday football team in Cleveland did the other day. Because I got a guy that throws for 358 yards or whatever it is. He's over 300 yards. He's a rookie quarterback. He's obviously in a little bit of a zone. You've caught lightning in a bottle. You've got a 2-point conversion to tie the game. Whatever you do, Jimmy Haslam, get him off the field. Get him out of that game. Great call.
They're out there running like 14 personnel.
Oh, yeah. And Ohio State,
their special teams are awful.
Totally embarrassing. Listen.
And what I'd be concerned about Ohio State is, okay, they played really snail-paced slow all year to limit snaps. Can they play fast if they have to? I don't know. They didn't do it. They didn't do it Saturday. And, Indiana maybe won a little more. Ohio State hadn't won a Big Ten title since 2020. I don't think they were lacking motivation in the game. I think they were distracted. But I think they wanted that one. Like, they won, Indiana's a legit football team. Like, don't forget what it says on the helmet. That's a good football team.
Hey, Matt, can Indiana get to a national semifinal? Because Anthony's going to be at that Rose Bowl when when Indiana plays. It's a fluke thing with one of his friends, but when Indiana plays either Oklahoma or Alabama, can Indiana get to a national semifinal, Matt? Could that really happen?
Yeah, absolutely. They could win it all.
Get to one.
I mean, they're not 13-0 for just out of luck. I mean, this is a really good team.
It's just so hard for me, guys. It's so hard for me to wrap my brains around. I know it's so hard for me to wrap my brain around it.
Don't look at the logo on the helmet. Like, they're legit. They're very well coached. Like, look at the adjustments they made Saturday. Ohio State was obliterating their offensive line. Immediately, they put Mendoza on the move. Like, they don't wait to make adjustments. They are a legit football team.
Lumbo.
How many schools recruited that one wide receiver that kept beating them deep? Becker.
The kid from
Nashville.
Nashville.
Who all recruited him in the process?
I mean, I'm on. It's crazy, dude. It's a crazy story. What's crazy about it is it really has to F with the minds of the recruitniks, Matt. Because it makes zero sense that Indiana's doing what they're doing for the recruitniks. I don't know how they digest that.
The high school recruiting purposes, But it's a portal game now, and they're just a really good team.
Yes, they are.
And they have an elite quarterback that whatever deficiencies they have, he can help cover up a lot of them. But and like Mark said, they have a really good coaching staff that's just really dialed in. It's the best turnaround, a 2-year turnaround I think ever in college football. I mean, yeah, the portal made it possible, but let's not forget he left James Madison and took the best players with him. But the James Madison team he left won 9 games and is back and in the playoffs this year. So whatever kind of scraps he left there were pretty dang good too.
And I was looking into them.
As is,
yeah.
I mean, Indiana's 13-0, Big Ten champs, and ranked number 1. And the storyline the next day had nothing to do with them. It was all about Notre Dame getting left out of the playoffs, and that sucks. Like Indiana should be the talk of the sport, and really should be playing for a national championship. They shouldn't be 3 games away from it.
Matt speaking fact bombs. Matt's dropping truth bombs right now. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony, it's Zach in E-Town. What's up, my man?
E-Town, what's up, brother? How about our basketball news, man? That's sad, isn't it?
Well, it keeps on raining.
We might have to hold each other's hands, man, during the winter here.
Rainy days, 12 and 35.
Yep.
I was curious about your take earlier when you mentioned the Utah private equity investment into their program. And you said, when will this stop?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll only stop when folks like, and this is nothing personal. It'll only stop when people like Matt or like I think Maggie and their families who have held season tickets for a long time. And I'm not saying I want this to happen, but it'll only stop when they say enough is enough. Do we want to be part of something that is this screwy with no guardrails, no laws? It's going to take our ticket holders and the people, the not ultra wealthy, but the folks that are comfortable enough to buy season tickets for every sport to say, hey, I think we're going to take a step back from this until it becomes something more akin to a system rather than just roadrunner running all over the place. Because, and the only sport that I've continued to follow is basketball. I'm becoming less attached to it. And Matt made a good point. There's fewer guys, and we've had a history of one and dones. But this news of private equity coming into the sport, and it's not just Saudi money, although it is. It's also just one of the few places where, and I know you hate talking politics, but this is a political issue. Politics just means who gets what and when do they get it. This is a place for capital to go to where there's still a return because there are still good people that remember the tradition and the pageantry.
Yeah, here's the sad thing. The reason that the Saudis want in on this thing is they want to own these campuses one day. People can laugh at that.
No, I agree.
That's what they want to. That if you look at like why homes are so expensive now, starter homes for people, it's because the BlackRocks of the world have bought them all up, and they're using them for using them for investments for Verbo. They're using them for Airbnb.
Yes.
And they've got their own chain of hotels basically all over the world now with property that young people we used to buy back in the day and would start their lives with. And now what happened with rent in light of that? Rent is now double and triple and quadruple what it used to be. It's really sad.
The apartment that me and my girlfriend lived in when I was back at UT is off of Paper Mill Square. It was like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. Was $425 a month.
$1,700 now.
It's like $1,500. And the common spaces that we all used to enjoy, like the Strip, have been mowed down to furnish these high-rise condos. And I guess it's just going to be a point where the people with a little bit more means than me say, you know what, this is not a good thing. And it's just not.
Matt, does that happen eventually? Or does it just mean too much,
we
Matt?
keep saying it's going to.
I think it just means too much.
At some point there will be a breaking point, and we're continuing to get closer to it. I just don't know when that is. The sports are so successful in bringing so much TV money that regular, just the average season ticket holder, I don't think what they do really factors into it a ton. But there's got to be a breaking point soon, but I just don't know when that is.
I'll tell you what's interesting.
Yeah.
And this is a little footnote, right? But we're all basketball people. Tennessee and Kentucky played Friday, Saturday night, back-to-back in Nashville. The price point on those tickets was such that it was so outrageous that Kentucky didn't fill the building. There were several thousand empty seats when they played, and there were several thousand empty seats when we played. And let me tell you something. That's an interesting development. That tells me that there is a price point where two fan bases that absolutely love college basketball, them more than us, but we love our college basketball. Look, we did a 90-minute post-game show the other night after that game, and I left. The phones were still ringing, and I left because that was enough talking about that, whatever that was. Yeah. So, but the point is, if Kentucky fans truly were the sheep that they're purported to be, they would have flocked and filled that place up. And they didn't do it, and we didn't do it, by the way.
But can I make a quick point? I was watching a couple of I watched John Gruden speak on the playoff selection and the way it happened, and I watched Bomani Jones. I took I looked at some different aspects, and they all came back to we're losing our regionalism, we're losing the special flavor. And I saw this happen. I live near Bristol. I mean, I'm curious if, and especially as private equity comes in and you have a team come out of nowhere like Indiana, which is good for them. But I wonder if we're going to see the NASCARification of college sports, which, if you remember, Bristol used to be one of the top 10, the night race used to be one of the top 10 hardest tickets to get in sports.
Yes.
Now you can just walk in. I don't know, but it's just something that we all used to be able to kind of enjoy. We used to be able to root for a group of young men and young women for 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
And now it's just total chaos and total what do you call it when you just charge the crap out of fans? Pocket.
It's soulless anarchy is what they've done with college sports right now. Soulless anarchy. And listen, I appreciate it. It's beyond capitalism. It's profiteering is what they're doing to people.
I like how they expect you. They went away from cash, and now they expect you when you go to the concession stand to get a bottle of water, they put a tip option on your card.
Yes. Here's the other thing. So it's just me. I'm looking at the NASCAR. They say NASCAR is too big to fail. We had the guy on from Syracuse last week, and he was talking about how they hadn't been to an NCAA tournament in 4 years. And why the Tennessee game? That was 1 week ago. Why the Tennessee game? Was that game played on a Tuesday? Yes, it was, right?
Yeah, Tuesday night.
So that game's played on a Tuesday. He said, hey, listen. He was there 38. He's been there 38 years, and he's from here. It was great. We had a great conversation with the guy, but he said, Syracuse basketball isn't what it once was, and it's not just the NIL era. It's the fact that they're in a league where they're displaced from the league. They're displaced from those New York City teams. They're displaced from St. John's. They're displaced from Connecticut. They're displaced from Villanova. They're displaced from all these things that they held true all those years. And a generation and a half of people grew up with, and that whole Northeastern thing. And, I think, Matt, about Nebraska, and I think about how they I think there is such a thing as you're pulling this thing geographically away from what it once was. They better be very careful here. I really do think that's the case.
No, all that's true, but it all comes back to it's a TV. These are TV sports now, and it's all about television and all about TV revenue.
Yeah.
Because TV revenue trumps everything in college sports.
That's
so
right.
that's what they cater to, and that's where they don't care about crowds. Like you know, when you watch these bowl games, there'll be thousands of people at these games. There'll be just empty seats everywhere. But it doesn't matter because it's all about, you know, the TV money that they bring in and those TV ratings that some people just value, you know, infinitely.
Are you going to Nashville, Matt, for the game? He's my litmus test. Matt's my litmus test
now.
See,
questionable.
That it's questionable for Matt tells me that you're not going to see the type of crowd that we think we're going to see. If Matt goes, then we'll get a good crowd. Matt's my litmus test, ladies and gentlemen. He is my litmus paper. I plan on, next time I sing him, pinning him down and spraying a few chemicals on him and substances and seeing what happens. He's got to turn a certain color of pink that I turn sometimes in the middle of the night when we're doing the post-game show. In the meantime, a brief timeout. More calls on your other side after this. Are you currently a residential electrician? Would you like more benefits, better pay, more upside? What about a $3,000 signing bonus? Free company-paid health insurance, annual profit share, company vehicle, gas card, much more. Call Advent Electric today. Advent, known for their large commercial jobs around town, and due to high demand, they're adding additional roles for their residential department. Maybe you know a friend, family member that's a residential electrician. Spread the word. Email hr@adventelectric.com. hr@adventelectric.com. 865-588-0631 and ask for the Tony B 3K signing bonus. Advent Electric is hiring. You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land. Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. For hundreds in our area, custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contract. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contracting.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team start at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
The season of giving reminds us of what truly matters, community and connection. Hi there, Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. As the year closes, I wanted to take a moment to sincerely thank you, my Basilio family clients. Thank you for trusting me with your most important decisions. Whether it was finding your first home or successfully closing a chapter, your trust means everything. I look forward to new and continued relationships through the new year, and feel free to reach out to me at 865-694-5904 or nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com. And of course, go Vols.
Basilio here with my buddy, Connexial Kristen.
Hey Tony, good to see ya. Connexial builds fleet technology that helps transportation and logistics companies win big. Live GPS, easy ELD and compliance tools, AI dash cameras, and asset tracking, all backed by the #1 U.S. customer support team. Want a better playbook for your operations? Visit Connexial.com/Tony. That's KONEXIAL.com/Tony. Connexial, built for drivers, trusted by fleets, and proud Vol fans.
Let's say it, let's know it, let's write it down. Tony B, back with you. You know what kind of is a bummer? I was looking at the calendar. No Garza Law Tennessee basketball overtime this week. That's a bummer, isn't it, Matt? Then we don't get to hang out. The Phillips injury, Kate Phillips injury. Look, I give him a ton of credit since the beginning of the year. Mike Wilson had a nice chronology of what that poor kid's been through. Man, that kid looks like he's in total pain when he's out there playing. God bless him. I hope he can get some relief because that's brutal pain that kid's been in. That looks very painful, looking at that poor Phillips kid who's got that tape all over him. What do they call that tape, guys, that tape they put on the body? Do you all know? Because Bino taught me yesterday what those wipes were. What are the wipes called, Bri, that the Browns are sponsoring right now? The male wipes? What are they? Male
I don't
wipes, guy wipes.
Participate.
You don't have them, Bri?
No, hell no.
I wanted to get the taste of the Tim Banks era. I wanted to use one on my mouth to get the tint, and Bino said I wouldn't do that. Matt, your thoughts on Phillips, the injury, and this opens up some playing time for a couple guys who probably need some playing time.
Yeah, you have plenty of depth inside to kind of handle one of these, probably for the first time really ever. You've got, really probably two extra bodies inside. So, it sucks to have a guy that's, a starter that gets hurt, but he clearly wasn't 100%, and it was obviously affecting him. But like you said, it helps you to kind of shorten your rotation and maybe play a little bit more of the 4-out stuff that we've kind of talked about, because they've been, going with two bigs for basically all year. So maybe it opens some of that up some more. You can use it to help you, but it obviously sucks for him. I'm a guy who's just feels like is playing injured, ever since he got here.
In case you're just joining us, my belief is that the defensive coordinator search solely centers on one name. And that one name is Washington defensive coordinator, Ryan Walters. Barring the unforeseen, I think that's the guy they've arrived at. I think they can get it done, barring the unforeseen. We'll see. Obviously, you can't speak in absolutes on this, but that's who I believe 100% is the choice du jour. And, in fact, if Ryan Walters ends up here, I expect that Brian Odom, brother of Barry Odom, comes with him. Brian Odom is a guy that played at Oklahoma with Josh Heupel on that national championship team. And Brian Odom is a guy that then transferred out of there and finished his career elsewhere and has been coaching ever since. And he's, one of these lifer guys in the sport. But the other thing to pin on the wall is this continues for Heupel, because Tim Banks was not his hire. Tim Banks was Danny White's hire. If you'll remember, they put that staff together ad hoc. Some pieces from what they had at Central Florida. In fact, did they bring Cody Burns with them, Matt, who I believe is back in the league now at Auburn, under that newly constituted staff there? Did he bring? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and Burns left here. I think he went to the Saints or something. I think he was with Comrade Golish at South Florida this past year, and then just went with him back to Auburn, which is where Cody Burns played. So kind of cool for him.
Very cool. But Ryan Odom's a guy that has a background with Heupel. We kind of break down what Odom likes to do over on the blog. We'll have some more on that. Some really, really like the hire. Some are kind of nonplussed by it. It's all about the players you have. You have to have the players to get in the scheme. The next step after getting this done is going to be getting into the portal. And then who was Walters talking to at Washington? And can they pull some of those people and bring them with them? Because these guys are all, if you're doing your job, talking people into the transfer portal. I mean, that's just the way the game's played. If you look at Walter's resume, he had a huge couple of years at Illinois under Lovie Smith before the plug was pulled on him. So it's all one big happy family. But they had a defense. They had like an NFL defense up there one year that was pretty damn unreal. That was way at the top of the sport, like way, way up there, which proves to you that this can work if you get the right personnel. Let's go to the phones, get our next call in. Hi, you're on the air.
Me?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Hi, it's Shannon in Memphis. I was just touching base. You was talking about Dr. Danny Wood, and I might be regurgitating what some of the previous guys have said already, but, they had an entertainment district, Tony. It was called Cumberland Avenue. I've been going to games up there since the early 90s, and me and my brother and all my buddies, we would go up there and party up and down Cumberland. There was all kind of bars and restaurants, Old Charlie's, the library. And, I'm older now, and I'm 52, and I got a family. I haven't been on Cumberland Avenue in a few years. We have parking pass at the ag campus, and we go, and we'll set up tailgate and catch shuttle to the game. Well, at the Vanderbilt game, my youngest son had never seen the Sun Sphere. So I was like, we'll walk down there, Well, we walked up Cumberland Avenue, and it's unrecognizable, man. It's high-rise townhouses. It's just dead. And most of the fans that were walking up and down Cumberland Avenue were Vanderbilt fans. And, I just remember, man, when I was younger, it was just so awesome to go up there, and it was alive, and the big games, and everybody at the bars, and people were, tailgating and camping out in the, liquor store parking lots and selling tickets, and all that's gone, and I don't recognize that campus anymore, man. And it's, just kind of, I guess maybe I'm just old man screaming at cloud or something, but, and I know everything changes, but how many students can you put on that campus? How many are there now? You keep building these high-rise apartments and townhomes. I guess my question is, when is enough? Well, at what point does the university
You're exactly right.
have enough students on campus to pay their bills? And another thing, talking about building hotels and condos and entertainment districts, one of the iconic scenes, when it's game day, and the games are on TV, and they'll come down that river with on a boat or helicopter or whatever.
Yep.
And, you'll come down the river, and all of a sudden there's Neyland Stadium standing on the banks of the Tennessee River.
Exactly right.
They built all that crap, you won't even be able to see Neyland Stadium. And the people in G10 garage, and I've never, tailgated or parked a G10, but to them that's tradition. They grew up doing that. Why take it away from them? I got season tickets in Section X1, and I'm just a few seats away from Section W, right? Well, a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when they ripped up, the bench seats behind the bench and put in that Lower West Club and put all the fancy chair backs and the fancy concession area, we would hop. There was a little barrier between where we sat and the stairs that went up by Section W, and we would just hop it and to go to the bathroom. It was faster than going all down the aisle. Well, since they built that section, they built up a little concrete wall there a little higher, and it's like they've got club bouncers standing there. They're so afraid that us losers and peons are going to sneak over to their high dollar concession area that they just stand there and watch us like hawks,
Oh, no, it's better than that. Check this out. At basketball games now, Danny's got this new scheme, and I'm sure Matt's seen it, where the first 13 rows around the bottom are walled off because that's for the little club thing they have downstairs. And they make everybody that sits in those seats has to wear a lanyard around now. And I've talked to people that have to wear the lanyard, and they hate having to wear a lanyard around. And he's made them go through some weird entrance that's completely inconvenient. I mean, this guy, nobody will say no to this guy on his team. Hey, Dr. Danny, not a good idea. Not a good idea, man.
But be careful what you ask for, man, because I used to be a big NASCAR fan too.
Yes,
and we used to go to Bristol a lot, and you couldn't get you had to have season tickets to Bristol to get the night race.
You got that right.
And now they show it on TV, and it's so pathetic. And my dad has had season tickets since I was in high school, and I graduated in '91.
Yep.
All right. Well, as I got older and had a family, back in the Butch Jones years, the ticket office started calling me, just out of the blue, calling me like once a week, begging me to buy season tickets. I don't even know how they got my phone number, to be honest with you, but they were begging me to buy season. And I told the girl, I said, look, if you find me 4 seats in this section, call me back.
Yep.
And she called me back, and like I said, they were talking about the. I'm kind of in the middle, Tony. I don't make a lot of money, but I make pretty good money, enough to where I can afford to buy 4 season tickets so I can take my family. I want to take my kids like my dad took me when I was a kid.
Yep.
Because that's how they become fans. That's how they get the passion. But I was going to football games, Tony, not too long ago, and that stadium was about 3/4 empty. And that section over there on the I guess that's the east side underneath the suites, you could tell like a corporation had bought a giant block of tickets and none of them would show up. There was probably there'd be 1,000 empty seats in a block, and it was pathetic looking. And they've had I'm glad Danny White came in. He was what we needed when he came in, because that the institution and the leadership had lost all control.
Yes.
And he's righted the ship, and I give him credit for that.
Yes.
But, at some point, enough's enough. My parking passes went from $75 a year to $250 a year in the course of 3 years.
And by the way,
eventually I'm going to say, hey, man, I can't do it no more,
Yeah, and listen, I appreciate the call because you speak for a lot of people. They're not done. That stuff's not done going up. Because in Danny White's economy, it's not just him, it's that entire sport, it's never enough. But it's dizzying what they're asking of the ticket buyer. It never ends. And the other aspect here of that is that what we're watching now is diminishing returns, these sports. The basketball product right now, I mean, I'm sorry, but this is pickup basketball we're watching. It's pickup ball. And you can't tell from year to year what kind of team you're going to have, let alone get used to who's on which roster. The playbook with William Pattison on the way next. We'll stay here and talk about it if you want to get in. But let's turn it over to my man, William Pattison, and the playbook.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
It's absolutely outstanding as we welcome you back. Let me do one quick thing, and then we'll get some more calls in at 865-200-5402. That guy was so passionate. And thank you for the call from Memphis. I appreciate you finding us. He was so passionate that I wanted to talk to you and hear you out. But in the midst of that, I got to get another timeout in here, and then we'll get some calls in.
TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Calhoun's invites you to leave the cooking to us all holiday season long. Between now and the end of the year, feast without the fuss when you host at the holidays. Don't you dare cook. Go absolutely next level with this offer. Between now and the first of the year, Calhoun's is offering an incredible deal on delicious turkey or prime rib dinner. You could feed from 5 to 10 people at your home holiday gathering, not lift a finger of preparation. The turkey dinner comes with amazing sides like mashed potatoes, peas, melt-in-your-mouth gravy, dressing to die for, fresh rolls, cranberry sauce, and homemade cheesecake. And the prime rib dinner features amazing melt-in-your-mouth prime rib, fresh mashed potatoes, au jus, green beans, gravy, rolls, horseradish sauce, and delicious fresh baked cheesecake. This amazing offering is available now through the new year. Call to place your order today. More information found at holidayfeedpack.com. Again, that's holidayfeedpack.com. Feast without the fuss this holiday season with Calhoun's, the taste of Tennessee.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Something not working right? Got a problem with your heating or plumbing? Right now, Pipe Wrench Home Services is making it easy to fix it fast with 50% off any HVAC or plumbing repair. Whether your HVAC needs some persuasion or your plumbing needs repaired, our certified technicians will be there right away to get you fixed fast. Have other plumbing or HVAC problems? We make it easy with free on-site estimates on replacements and free second opinions on repairs. So call or schedule your appointment online today at pipewrench.com and save 50% off any repair up to $500 all month long. We are committed to keeping your home cozy and worry-free this holiday season. Pipe Wrench Home Services, trusted in Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and neighboring communities for over 20 years. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free. This limited time offer is good for residential services only. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
Basilio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company. Basilio here reminding you that when you want to sell your extra tickets to the game, you don't want to give your life away online with all your personal information just because you want to sell a few extra tickets. Clark Moore at Select Ticket Service will gladly buy your extra game tickets and your extra parking passes. And the best part? Clarky Boy pays cash. 865-919-1016. 865-919-1016. Clarky Boy pays cash at Select Ticket Service. Clarky Boy pays cash. Presented by Dude Wipes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with you until we get our extra time sponsor. Or, as somebody said, Matt, earlier, somebody suggested in the YouTube comments, Danny Wipes. Hey, guys, and I wanted to get silly, but I'm going to get away from that for 1 second. Matt, somebody in the YouTube comments, and look, different says, why don't we have somebody hired already? What do you mean? What do you mean? You fired a guy yesterday. The fact that you've got a strong number one candidate tells me that you've put some thought into this. The fact that the car is way on down the tracks, I find a great sign. How about you guys? I think it's a great sign that we're way on down the tracks with a candidate.
Agreed. The last time you've had some staff openings, even though they've mostly been on the offensive side, Heupel's taken his time and then just promoted from within. So the fact that you're already, got a target is a good sign, and it means that Heupel wasn't kind of forced into this, that he had already kind of had his mind made up and had already kind of been exploring some things and figuring things out. So I think it's a good sign, and as long as you get it wrapped up here in the next few days.
And the fact that the number one candidate has emerged as somebody that has connections to him, and there's another connection with Brian Odom, who we believe would end up coming. This thing is kind of an interesting deal. By the way, congratulations to George Quarles with the news breaking. And I just want to say congrats to George Quarles back in our area. Going to be coaching over at Webb School with the great Ricky Norris, who's the basketball coach there and has been for years. I used to be in a fantasy with Ricky Norris, Bry, back in the day. Fantasy football, that is.
Okay, I was getting worried.
Well, just reminds me when Dewey told Sean Alexander, "You're in my fantasy." It was one of the great moments in the history of Knoxville radio. Love me.
Pay review.
Yep.
SEC media.
The Deweyisms were incredible. But yeah, Ricky Norris was in my fantasy at one time until I quit playing fantasy. Matt, are you a fantasy player of any repute at all?
No, I quit playing fantasy football probably 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah. Also, speaking of fantasy football, I just want to congratulate Bino's Colts for continuing, well, just to set the bar. The Colts have announced, Brian, that they've signed 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, who's been out of the sport for 5 years. And I mean this in the really the gentlest sense of the term, was completely washed the last time we saw him. Now, Bino, I love you, but has he been taking some of, shall we say, Roger Clemens' vitamins? Is that what we've got here? Because my daughter used to call vitamins when she was a kid. Is he taking some of Roger Clemens' special vitamins, Bino? Maybe some of that stuff, that Tiger Woods got from Dr. Galea back in the day. Go! Bino, does that scare you? Bino. Brian, does that scare you as an AFC South guy?
No, it does not.
Does it amuse you?
A little bit, yeah.
Back to the phones we go. There might be a shortage. I don't know. There might be a shortage of quarterbacks in the NFL. Just might be.
Yeah,
might be.
Anthony Richardson not being there really is, and not becoming what they thought, is really hurting them right now.
I was talking to Bino last night. He said, "You know how bad this Richardson guy is?" I said, "How bad, Bino?" He said, we brought in that damn Phillip Rivers today, who was literally washed 5 years ago. Back to the phones we go. So congratulations to you, Bino, if you're listening. Love your show. Look forward to celebrating that with you Friday in person at the Corner 16 out west. By the way, Russell Smith, let's see, Dubsy sent me something. He's going to be at the corner later on today. And I want to shout out
I think Smoky Mountain Brewery is where he's going to be,
Brewery,
right?
West Knoxville. Thank you, Brian.
Yes.
Thank you, Brian.
Don't go to the wrong place.
Yeah, go and support Dubsy baby, woo! And the great Bob Baskerville and Bear as well. Hello and welcome in. You're on our overtime.
What do you say, Connor?
Hey, Philly, welcome in.
How you the boys doing?
Philly, we're doing great. Good to talk to you.
Tony, yesterday I had the privilege of meeting up a bunch of young high school graduates that's where I went to high school, and you were a topic of our conversation 2 or 3 times during the lunch hour.
The youngins? They know of the show?
Yeah. Well, these guys about my age, or they've heard you. They've heard you from the cradle of talk radio to now. You know what I
mean? Philly, you went to South Young High School, right?
Yeah, Young High School. It's not South or Dole, it's Young.
And Young High School's been gone so long that makes Phil feel old that he went to Young.
I know. It's Kroger's now. Tony, George Quarles coming back makes me think of Jaker. He wanted him so bad on UT's campus and never got him, not?
No doubt about it. What kind of a career in coaching would Quarles have had when he joined Fulmer's staff if he didn't leave and go back to Maryville, if he'd have stayed there, learned the ropes, paid his dues like those guys do, and could have gotten a spot where he had talent to work with. The guy was a hell of an offensive coach of Philly. Hell of a coach.
Yeah, he is a good offensive coach. No doubt about that.
Why it didn't work out at East Tennessee State, I got to wonder why.
0, and I mean 0 minus 0, Brian, money. That's a tough gig.
And Sanders, he came in, he followed Randy Sanders, who did pretty good, and then it just bottomed out.
Well, when Randy left, he left when all the players left. That's kind of what these guys do. It's kind of like Bruce Pearl. He hasn't exactly left his son a Sterling Golden basketball team this year.
Tony, now that Cade Phillips is gone for the year, I guess he'll probably get a red shirt, just like Estrella did last year. When you think?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he qualifies. So
yeah, that's a good assumption.
I read where he does qualify.
Yep.
And if you look at it, I want to see some Curry Brown lineups. I want to see Acapara, and if Estrella can not get hurt in there at the same time, that'd be two good pairs that might help your offense a little bit.
Matt, you think they do that? Do they pair them? It's an interesting thought Phil has, because now you have the capacity for a little more cohesion here.
Yeah, and you definitely, if you're going to play two bigs, at least one of them's got to be a scoring threat to have any semblance of an offense. No, it's a really good point.
Yeah, but our question at guard's still there, Tony. I mean, we've gone 3 years without a backup point guard, and here we are again. And really, we don't even have a point guard. Gillespie's not a point guard.
He's a pretty good player, Phil. I mean, look.
He's a good player, but he's not a point guard.
The problem with this team is that right now, what are they? Obviously, you want to figure this out. It's what the month of December's for. Early January into February, and you hope you hit the ground running. We know one thing this year. This team is not going to peak in November and December, Phil. Unlike, people have said that about Barnes in the past. This thing is going to be a slow grow deal if they grow at all, guys. If they grow at all.
The Dalton Connect team lost 3 games in the non-con part, and they didn't peak, but they still got a 2 seed.
Brian?
I don't know if this team can do that.
Hey, Brian.
Just saying.
If this team gets a 2 seed, okay, I will strip naked and run around Knoxville for an hour and a half and go play my guitar in the park, fully nude. And I'll let everybody know when
because they're trying to run it.
Well, Phil, in the cold weather, there wouldn't be much to see, and in the warm weather, there wouldn't be much to see. But trust me, in the cold, there'd be very little to see, Philly.
They got a compliment Heupel. I think he did something I didn't think he had the guts to do, is get rid of dead weight. There's still more dead weight on that staff. I think a special teams coach needs to be over. That's my priority outside of a secondary coach to turn this thing around. Our special teams were miserable this year. That cost us a Georgia game.
Hey, Matt, should they move off that kid that's a special teams coach and get serious about that?
They might tweak some things. I wouldn't think they'd get rid of the guy. Probably not. It's just such a small part of the game now, and the special teams coach isn't really the kickers coach, because that's kind of a different deal. I don't know. I mean, it's certainly something that Heupel needs to be thinking about and looking into.
What about strength and conditioning, Matt?
Well, your team's not big. You haven't been big, especially defensively. You don't have on the back end. You just don't look like a typical, high-end SEC defense. So, and you keep having a bunch of injuries. Whether that's the strength coach or not, it's certainly something that you can look into. Because I remember after 2015, Butch Jones replaced the DC with Bob Shoop and got rid of the strength coach, and it wound up being kind of a disaster deal. So you have to caution yourself a little bit in making too many moves over just one off season. But everything, you got to reevaluate everything every year, every off season, and and find ways to improve. And if that means changing coaches, then that means changing, moving guys around.
Well, one thing I'd like to see us get a punt returner that'll get it and run and catch it, and go straight ahead instead of just calling a fair catch every time. And I'd like another field goal kicker.
The weirdest.
I think that field goal kicking costs us a chance of having a great season.
I agree with Phil. I don't trust that guy. I'm sorry. I said it. By the way, let's go back here on Dave is over here rising and surprising over on YouTube, and he's talking Tennessee basketball, which I got to give Dave credit, Phil. He put himself on a no Tennessee basketball moratorium, and it lasted like 12 hours, which is pretty next level.
About,
He said, I want to see Estrella and Carey paired together. That's the pair he wants to see. You guys like that?
That's another combination. I mean, really, they're going to live and die with their inside game, because you got to go inside out with that basketball, just not outside in like they're doing now.
Do you respect Dave's hoops knowledge, Phil, or do you find him to be a vapid bore? Which one?
Well, I mean, I like him because he tells the truth, but I mean, he makes me sound positive.
Negative! Thank you, Philly. Negative is an absolute punk. And Matt, what about Negative? And you and I were glad to hear from him Saturday night because he's a damn hoot and holler. I know he rubs people the wrong way, but he's not doing a bit. He's Negative. He said his friends think he's nuts. His wife thinks he's insane. I think he said his
Bino claims he doesn't know him.
Bino claims he doesn't know him, and I think Bino puts him up to half his phone calls. But what about Estrella?
I think Negative's very astute, and
I do too,
and knows what he's watching. I just hate that he can't celebrate whenever there's good things. It's always he always just harps on the negative. It's a shame that's the case, but that's how he views it, and he just keeps it real.
Keeping it real. Tomorrow we're running a basketball capsule of what the league has been so far and what to expect and where you would rank the teams. Here's where we have them, Matt, and this is your ass over tea kettle here in this league right now. You just are. And I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. Vandy's got the best team in the league right now. Vandy is betting odds. They're a 3-1 favorite to win the league after 5 weeks of play. Florida's 4-1. Bama's 4.5-1. Vols are 5-1. Georgia, for crying out loud, is 10-1. All that money, Matt, Arkansas has spent on college basketball, going all in on Cal, his salary, bloated salary. They have the 8th best odds in the league at 12-1. Kentucky, Matt, is 16-1. And Stephen F. Pearl is in the back part of the league at 18-1. You got Missouri 20-1. You got Texas 50-1. You got LSU 55-1. You got A&M 80-1. You got Ole Miss 90-1. And Caduce to Mississippi State 300-1. But here's a question for you and Brian. As we sit here, I don't know what to think about our team in the league because I don't know how good the league is or isn't. C thinks if the Vols roll out of bed, they're going to be able to finish 11-9 in the league if they can fog up a mirror. He said that's how bad some of these teams are. Do you share that view, Matt, or do you think this team could go lower?
I mean, they could certainly go lower because they're just not good enough offensively to outscore teams when the defense isn't there. Which I'm not sure you have an elite defense this year like you've had in recent years. You definitely don't have a top 3 or 5 defense. Maybe it's a top 20ish, top 15, which is probably good enough to go about 500 in league play. So there's just I'm not sure there's a real national title contender in the league this year, whereas the past couple of years there's been like 3 or 4. I mean, the number of second weekend teams is probably you can count on one hand this year. After a record-setting year, there's we'll see. So there'll be a team or two that get hot in league play that everything kind of gels for.
Florida last year. Yeah.
Arkansas would probably be my guess there. I think they're going to be pretty good.
Yep.
And then who's the coach of Texas? Is it Sean Miller?
Yes.
Is he at Texas?
Yes.
I think they struggled a little bit.
You could take a flyer on them to maybe sneak into the tournament and have a good second half of the year. But I think the league's just down, especially compared to last year.
Kentucky's team and their struggles, I'd like to enjoy them more, figure out some kind of stability here, but we'll go back to our phones. It's interesting stuff. I got to quit saying But how about Vanderbilt, quoting Stephen F. Imperial, running things in this town right now? That's just bizarre to me. And surely they're not going to do that in baseball, are they, Matt? Surely Vanderbilt's not going to go bang, 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 are they?
Well, they won the league and were the number one seed last year and then didn't get out of their own regional. So
good point.
Depends on what you consider to be success for them.
Good point. Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome in. Nate Ament, man, I got to believe there's more player there with Nate Ament. It's got to be. Got to be. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
What's that, guys?
Hey, Rihanna, welcome in.
Yeah, you got a couple of oldies back to back there, as the old DJ used to say, Tony.
You got it.
Let me ask you guys a question. I thought about this yesterday. Do you think that replacing Tim Banks was Josh's decision, Danny White's decision, or a conference of people?
No, it was Josh Heupel's decision. What I'm going to write in the blog tomorrow, because I've got it phrased here. I will share with you the verbiage that I'm going to use tomorrow, and this is how I'm putting it. Heupel came to the conclusion after the Vandy game with a slight nudge from above. It was not mandated, I was told, but he did get a slight nudge of encouragement from above.
Well, Tony, I could see that, most definitely, because of, I guess, previous years, we've sort of promoted from within, try to skip by on the least amount of disturbance to the staff as we could or whatever. So I thought that was interesting. And that's an interesting story. I'll look forward to reading that tomorrow.
The staff needs disturbing. Yes, Mariano. This is something that needs shaking up, needs new eyes, needs new approach, needs a lot of things.
I mean, I think sometimes you need to have, I hate to say this, an embarrassing loss to Vanderbilt to wake people up to see exactly what's going on. You have to have a cleansing every now and then, so to speak. So, and let me ask you this: do you think the cleansing is done, or we're going to see more?
Oh no, you're going to see more. You mean staff turnover from this staff?
Yes.
You're going to see more.
More staff turnover.
Yeah, you're going to see more. They're going to let this guy pick his own people. Now, in terms of offensive players, look, Joey Halsley was trying to get out of here. Does he find a spot? Does he find a landing spot? Here's what I hear about Halsley. And, Matt, I want your thoughts on this. I think he was frustrated with the fact that he doesn't get any praise when things go well, but he gets all the blame when things don't go well. And I don't think he's enjoying that narrative very much, TGMD.
No, I don't blame him. I mean, he's not really the play caller either.
Yep.
So he can go and be a play caller somewhere and help him grow as a coach also. I think his entire coaching career has been under Heupel.
He tried Rihanna to get
needs a chance to go do it on his own and be a play caller.
He tried to get the Florida gig, Rihanna, but it didn't materialize.
Yeah. Tony, well, you wonder then if Halsey does move somewhere else.
Yes.
Does Josh go outside, or does he promote the guy from Oklahoma they brought in as an analyst? Littrell?
Seth Littrell. Seth Littrell.
Yes.
He promotes him.
That'll be interesting to see.
Yes.
if that occurs.
Here's the thing about Luttrell, too. If you give him more of a role, I hear he's kind of an SOB, sort of a bad cop guy. And I'm not so sure that wouldn't help them be a little more refined if they gave him a little more of a say on the practice field.
Sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Tony. By the way, when are you at Smoky Mountain Brewery in Maryville, brother?
We will be there a week after Friday, so a week from Friday a week.
Okay, cool. Hopefully we'll see you down there.
By
the way, it's good to see George Quarles get back in Maryville. There was a lot of circumstances, I understand, with it. He lost his mother recently. His dad's not in great health, so
man,
he wants to be back close to home for his father, and anybody wants to do that. And I'm glad that we're able to work it out with Webb so he could come back home.
George is good people.
He is. He really is. Good talking to you. I'll see you.
Yes, sir. 865-200-5402. Go for Dos. Dos Equis. Go back to our phones as well and get our next call in. Hi, you're on the air. Welcome in.
Tony, it's Madison in Texas. How you doing?
Hey, Madison. Long time. No speaky, brother. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. I had to take a little break, Tony. It was too much for me to bear for a little bit.
What we call a mental health break. I've needed about this football season. I needed 4 of those, and guess how many I took, Madison?
Yeah,
None.
I needed a little bit of that.
Yes.
Been busy. So, hey, Tony, I don't have too much time, but I want to call about this defensive coordinator situation.
Your thoughts?
You know, I've been pretty vocal that we need 2 new coordinators now. On the offensive side, you know, I know we're talking about Housley maybe leaving. You know, whatever we do, we got to get somebody to call the plays. And I trust Josh to find out whoever that is, if it's Luttrell, whoever. But on this defensive coordinator side, Tony, and I've said this to you before, we need a guy who is a zone specialist. You cannot really run man defense in the modern game anymore and not get ripped apart. Tony, if you watch the Ohio State Indiana game, it was an absolute masterclass by the Haynes defense coordinator there from Indiana, where he's playing primarily zone. They've done it all year. They teach it extremely well in the off season, in spring, and in the summer. And Tony, if they tried to play man defense against that Ohio State team, how many touchdowns would they have lost by?
Well, they would have thrown those wide receivers out there, like I said, in a higher usage rate, and they would have bombed away on them. Yes, you're right.
And they would have lost by 2-3 touchdowns.
Probably.
And so we're never going to have a Nick Saban defensive backfield like they had when they were ripping off wins and playing mostly kind of that man matching scheme. So are you guys hearing it's this Walters guy?
Yes.
Tony, so I told you this before. My fiance is a Purdue person. Her whole family went there. Her brother played football there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the worst football teams I've ever seen in my entire life were the last few years with him. Now, I know he was the head coach. He's a defensive guy.
Yes.
Defense was horrible. Tony, this is a little pecker hire. I need a big pecker hire. And, I mean, what are you going to do with all this Adidas money, all this money that you have? Tony, this is an opportunity to find the best defensive coordinator in the entire country and make him generationally rich, pair him with Heupel, and see what we can do.
But Madison, what about putting the money in your players? And what about when he had a tremendous amount of talent at Illinois? Those 4 NFL players in the backfield, they were number 2 in America. You think the game's changed since then?
He's had a little bit of success, and I'm hopeful, Tony. This is my initial thought. I mean, the guy was playing cover 1 man defense when he's getting beat by 50 points. That doesn't really work. You got to do something different, Coach. I'm watching this guy get ripped apart, and he won't get out of man coverage.
You talking about at Purdue?
At Purdue.
Yeah, well, that's what he did. I mean, look, and they didn't have the players to run it, and that's why they pulled the plug on him, because he was married to his deal, right? And he wasn't a head coach. I mean, and you and I both know that's a bad job anyway. But if you put a guy that's not ready to be in a bad job, that's like having Stan Drayton up there at Temple. You're going to get ripped apart every week. You got to be able to coach a little bit as a head coach, and I just don't think that guy was a head coach.
Tony, and I agree, and I'm not trying to, I'm trying to draw parallels a little bit here with what his recent experience is.
Sure.
Of course, as a head coach, he's focused on the defense.
Yes.
Whoever he was trusting to call the plays, if he wasn't calling the plays himself, he's ultimately responsible. But it's not very appealing to me to watch a guy who's getting ripped apart playing man defense and he doesn't know how to do anything else. Because I don't think that you can win at a high clip at Tennessee without being able to do multiple things. And look, if you look at the best defenses in the sport right now, and even Indiana, who's not supremely talented, they're running zone coverage.
Yes.
You have to in this modern game because the receivers are pushing off, the quarterbacks are too good at placing the ball, and unless you have superior athletes, which maybe at some point we have equal athletes, we're never going to have the best athletes in the entire country in the defensive backfield. I just, we'll see how it ages, but I thought it was a little pecker higher, and I was hoping for something maybe a little bit more of a big splash. But that's just me, Tony.
Thank you, Matt. Our compadre C shares his concern about this guy's scheme and being so married to it. So I guess it's a food for thought thing, right?
Yeah, or you've got to have corners that you can play on islands, and you got to have 3 or 4 of them.
Yep.
So, and if you have a year where you don't have them, you're gonna get torched. So yeah, it's obviously there's a lot of truth there, but that doesn't mean it's not a good hire. I mean, and maybe he can tweak some things in what he does. Maybe he's learned from that Purdue stuff. So
I asked Steve for his take on it.
It is interesting because his defenses at Missouri, when he was the real DC and calling plays, they were okay. One year they were pretty good, but I mean, he was good at Washington this year, playing the Big Ten.
Was he their DC when they gave up 63 points that one year?
No, that was Steve Wilkes.
No, I'm talking about 2016.
I think he had a co-DC title. I don't know if he was the DC.
That wasn't
he was
him.
the DC 2018, 19, and 20 at Missouri.
Yeah, that wasn't him. By the way, C says about him, I think it's a very solid hire Heupel's made. It's not an off-the-charts hire. It's a solid hire. He's a bend but don't break guy, which is what analytics say is best. He's really an NFL-style defensive coordinator. Very important, like Matt is saying, to have elite edge rushing guys and elite corners in his system, which is exactly what they did at Illinois, which is why it worked. You really need one true linebacker. You're going to run heavy bear fronts. He was doing some really cutting-edge NFL stuff at Illinois, but now it's trickling down into the college game so fast that teams are more prepared for it, which is what Madison in Texas was just saying a moment ago. Some Big Ten staffs think he's too married to his system and didn't really adapt to the roster he had at Washington. Washington didn't really have good edge guys this year, and it was a high-wire act at times, but their numbers were pretty good by the end of the year. So apparently the belief is that this guy runs a system that's pretty simple, and it's reliant on having NFL caliber guys at your high dollar NIL positions, like edge and cornerback. He's not a guy that forces a tremendous amount of turnovers with his scheme. And it's an extremely NFL-like system that he runs. Matt, do you think that's a fair way of couching it?
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I think that last Illinois team he had actually was second in turnovers, so they just did everything really well. And I think Jed Finch at Washington's a pretty good coach.
Yeah.
And actually is a lot better than I thought he'd be in the college game.
Yes.
He identifies players and coaches really well. So that's kind of a good sign that he hired Walters, and that they've been a little successful this year with that. So, I mean, again, it's an upgrade over what you had, and it's just kind of the change that you almost had to make. You just needed a change for everybody involved there. So there's always, he's not going to be perfect. There's going to be games you probably get torched.
Right.
But there'll also probably be a game or two where he schemes up some things that win you a game that we just really haven't had the last 5 years.
People are asking, has Tennessee hired him? No, they have not. We're just talking about him because he's the leading candidate. He is literally on the front burner, and it's getting hot. But no, they haven't hired him yet. And as I've said the entire show, as we know around here, anything can happen. So there are people cheering for this to get done, and there are people cheering against this to get done. The truth generally lies somewhere in the middle, doesn't it, with all this stuff?
What were the names you all were floating out yesterday?
Corey Braswell, 510, says Walters has been very multiple at Washington this year, constantly mixing it up. Okay, Corey, I'll take your word for it and hope that's accurate. Let's go back to our phones. On our unsponsored phone line, on our man wipe, what's it called? Man wipe. What's the thing called, Brian? Banks wipe. What's the wipes called, guys? That sponsor the Browns.
Dude wipe.
Dude wipe. I guess
Does Philly sing acapella or acapella?
Man.
Interesting.
Man. Man. Banks wipes. Danny wipes. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Do you remember when Barney sang acapella?
I love that, dude.
He sang acapella and acapella.
Hey, I mean, I think Walters is a massive upgrade from what we had. If we can know what our assignments are, understand our run fits, what our gap assignments are, that's a gigantic improvement by itself, no matter what the coverages are. And that vaunted Ohio State offense, he was pretty good against them this year. Played a lot of zone against them, mixed it up pretty thoroughly. The guy was right.
Yeah, I didn't look at the game, so I'll take your word for it.
I watched it start to finish because I thought it was the only time at that point in the year that Ohio State was going to be the least bit challenged in a road environment. Ohio State ended up winning, but it wasn't an easy win. It was, a couple plays here and there ended up making like a 14-point game, but Washington bogged down in the red zone on offense a couple times, but it was a good ball game, and their defense wasn't overwhelmed by Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. I mean, the game's on the ESPN app if anybody wants to go watch it. You can watch the replay of it. Tony, people don't love this idea, and I guess maybe Barnes promised Ament he wouldn't do it to him, but I feel like Abrams and Boswell and Gillespie can operate together and move Ament to the power forward some and open up the court, because it's way too many dudes on the court that their guys don't have to guard them if they leave the paint. Do anybody agree that
you and I
know we talked about him playing the two,
yeah.
But then that's just more dudes on the court that can't shoot if you have to play three bigs. Abrams and Boswell defend the perimeter pretty well.
Yeah.
Abrams comes in immediately, gets a couple steals. Boswell plays defense well enough. They both are shooting it well enough right now to garner more shots on the perimeter. And if I know the worry is Ament can't guard a power forward maybe, but Igor did. Surely if Igor can do it, right? Am I wrong?
No, I think you make a good point. Matt, what do you think? Because they got to try something here.
Yeah, I think you've been too reliant on playing two bigs this year so far, which is what your personnel kind of dictates. Which we don't need to get into rehashing the roster construction stuff that Dave brings up. But you've got to figure out something to do to where you can get Ament going, get him some confidence, and find ways to get him either some easier shots around the rim or to the free throw line a little bit easier. Whether that you could just totally clear out a side of the court like they did with Connect a bunch that year, where they just kind of just gave him the ball to, one of the wings and just cleared out. You could do that some.
Yep.
If Barnes, but you do need to figure out a way to create a much better floor spacing for not just Amen, but for everyone else. But Amen obviously probably needs it more than anybody else.
It's also the pick and roll lobs to Akpara are non-existent, and it's because when you got that second big on there that's a paint big that can't leave and can't take his defender away, his defender is always there to help on the lob. So even if Akpara beats his man and we force that guy to switch to Gillespie when you throw the lob, the other big defenders coming over there and bumping Akpara, when we're getting almost none of those, and they were happening constantly last year because you got Igor standing out on the three-point line with his defender in his vicinity, so the lob's open. There's just so much congestion. And Syracuse and Illinois both beat us by basically playing with their second big was really a guy that was a perimeter player. Hell, their first big was a perimeter player shooting threes. I mean, how many threes do you think Akpara or JP would take if they were playing in that Illinois offense, a ball game?
I don't think I want to see Akpara shooting threes much more. That was fun while it lasted.
I mean, he's still shooting like 48, 50%. I mean, worst case, it goes to 30. That's still good enough to like at least be a threat, right? Right, Bronny?
Yeah, but yeah, those ones against Illinois just had no chance to go in. It looked like.
Problem with this team, problem with this team is they're poorly constructed, and it's going to be. To Rusty's point, I mean, you hate to start experimenting with the Louisville game, but you got to win that game. I mean, you got to figure out a way to cobble together a lineup in front of an oiled-up home crowd that you can win a game, because those pieces just right now just do not fit together, what they're doing. There's no space at all. That is one thing Rusty's right about. There is zero space in the half court. And by the way, we're in a period where we're not creating any fast break points at all. None. No. Like zero.
Ament beat his guy the other night numerous times, got to the paint, and then lo and behold, he gets there, and it's just a crowd of people standing in his way. That's the other big problem with the way we're playing with two bigs. It defeats what he can do best, which is get by his man with all his length, and then get to the rim by himself. But no, there's a crowd there waiting on him. And Dave in the chat, I don't know if you just saw, said Ament can't guard the other team's four. Well, Syracuse played with a small four. Illinois played with a small four, and Igor defended fours all year last year. Dave, are you trying to tell us that Igor is a better athlete and has as much length and is as good a defender as Ament is? Because if Igor is, we should have found a way to get him back this year somehow.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm kind of with Brian. Akpara shooting foul shots or three balls is fun every once in a while. Akpara shooting a high percentage or a high number of threes. If that's your offense, why don't we just go ahead and go to the NIT? Just go ahead and call it a day. But let's go back to the phones. Hello.
Hey, Tony, what's going on, man?
There he is. Back for the crown.
Hey, Josh. I'm happy to see Banks get the axe.
Yep.
My only worry on this deal, Tony, is it seems like another comfort hire to me when you start hiring ex-teammates and ex-colleagues. I think he needs somebody to challenge him, piss him off every once in a while. A little bit more energy. He needs the opposite of himself a little bit. But I hope he succeeds. We'll see.
It's an interesting.
That's kind of who this guy is. The younger guy he's got some energy. I remember watching a few of his when he was the Purdue head coach. He had a little bit of fire in him. I don't know if he's if he'll challenge Heupel for anything, but he does have some head coach experience that maybe could help Heupel in some ways. But
yeah, I hope it works out. The other thing, Tony, this G10 stuff's got me sick, but I think we can kind of thank our old friend John Curry on this. He kind of started this deal.
Did he really?
Yeah, over in Wake Forest, he's got they call it the Grounds. It's like a $300 million retail, residential, commercial spaces that they lease out, and the goal is to help fund this rev share. And they team up. It's kind of public-private partnership deal. I don't know. I don't have much faith in these athletic directors in the real business world, so I hope it turns out well. But
amen to that. If those guys were if Danny White was in the real business world, he wouldn't survive for 5 minutes the way he treats people.
Yeah, and that's
that's the truth.
You know, if it didn't cost me something that I have so many great memories being at, over the years, it would be different for me. But you just hate to lose. There'd be no going back there. And, you just have to look at the new hotel and think about the old times, I guess.
You know what's crazy? Like Brian was saying, or we were talking during the break, the iconic Neyland Stadium with that hill in the background, and I can specifically close my eyes, remember being at games when I was a kid in there, and how the back stadium was open and you could see into the hill, and it was just seeing Ayers Hall in the background there was just so utterly beautiful. The old alumni gym as well, you saw a little top of that. But
it was gorgeous, Tom.
It was an absolutely gorgeous scene, and now we are going to have, I don't even know what it's going to be, but a high-rise.
No, Danny and the lieutenants over there in the Politburo, Tony, they're going to turn it into the Hajj. It's going to look like the Hajj over in Saudi Arabia with skyscrapers surrounding it. And, how much money how many dimes can I squeeze out of these nickels? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Hey, have you heard the name Colton Joseph at all from over there? This kid would really change the fortunes of Josh Heupel. He announced he's entering the portal.
Oh, the kid from, you're talking about the kid from Old Dominion?
Is that the Old Dominion QB?
Yes, and he can play, Matt. I don't know if you got a chance to watch him much, but this kid is a player. It would be the best money we ever spent getting that kid down there. And they run that up-tempo stuff. He fits this offense perfectly. Perfectly. I know you've invested in these freshmen, but, man, if I've ever seen a sure thing, that kid looks like a sure thing.
I would leave no stone unturned, and if I thought that kid could play and help me, then so be it. No stone gets unturned when you're hunting for a quarterback.
But you've not heard his name kicked around anywhere?
I've heard Portal Dave say it to me. You're the second person that said it to me. I've not heard him linked to Tennessee's gig yet, but to be honest with you, I haven't heard any names yet. So,
you think they'll get a quarterback, Tony?
Are
they going to roll the dice on Joey coming back?
No. They're getting a quarterback. Just a matter of what repute, at what level of expenditure, and away we go.
Well, I don't know. I hope Garner stays, but you never know nowadays as the world turns, Tony. Y'all hang in there. Take care.
Thank
See you guys.
Brother. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Great talking to you, and Merry Christmas to you if we don't talk. Because I know you're kind of an infrequent flyer around here. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, on the way out? You all been incredible in the form of clapping your hands. And I want to thank my friends today at VIP Play, online at VIPplay.com. Download the app today. You bet $20, you get $100 in bonus bets instantly. Tonight, my Flyers play Celebrini and a really talented San Jose team tonight, 7 o'clock. Puck drop. Brian Hartman is fired up, focused, and prepared for that one. I like the Flyboys at home. Give me a Matvey Michkov anytime goal to go with that. And give me Vladar with a plus 900 save percentage this evening. And that's the way I'm going to play it. Over at VIP Play, live always, 200-plus leagues, numerous bet types, props, options. Have a bet in mind, can't find it? Where you roll, my friends at VIP Play will do it for you. And we'll meet you in the middle. That's why everybody gets treated like a VIP at VIP Play. Gambling problem, 800-889-97. 89, 21 and over, and located in our great state of Tennessee to place a bet. And do y'all have any final thoughts for us here on the way out? As Cinco will be in the house tomorrow. The great Watson Brown will be in the house as well.
I'm going to go learn how to sing a cappella. Interesting.
How about you, TGMD?
No, good show. Good discussion about our potential new defensive coordinator that was kind of gives you some energy here going into the off season that's kind of much needed, and hopefully you can find a way to improve there, and he gets the staff put together, and he can go out and really attack the portal.
And why not?
You did
right?
well in the high school signing class. Not going to see a lot of return on that investment next year, but you got to hammer the portal and get you a roster that's going to be able to compete next year to get back into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's an interesting deal here. It's going to be, listen, the next 5 weeks, Matt, I'll be honest with you, I had no idea they were going to let Tim Banks go that quickly. We heard that if something happened, it would happen after signing period, which is exactly what happened. I mean, they blasted him on Monday, which tells me that they're going to move quickly.
It was in the works, yeah.
And it was in the works. So.
What did y'all talk about the playoffs and Miami getting in over Notre Dame yesterday at all?
It. Your thoughts. Hit it.
Well, based on what their criteria is and their parameters, it was the right move to make because Miami beat them head to head.
Yep.
It's a disservice then to Notre Dame to have them ranked where they had them basically the whole year, and then flip them the last minute when last year they said that teams that didn't play on championship weekend were not being reevaluated, that they couldn't change, and then this year they flipped for the last spot. Really. The problem was the ACC needed to manipulate their title game to where Miami was playing Virginia. And they could have done what I think the American and Mountain West do, where it's like the computer rankings decide who plays in your title game because you just don't have, your leagues are so big, you don't have common opponents. And there's just no real fair way to do it. But
the funny thing, Matt.
It's interesting. Yeah. It was either Notre Dame or Alabama was getting left out.
Yeah.
They weren't going to leave Alabama out.
You imagine if Alabama would have gotten left out 2 years in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how about this? How about Notre Dame's AD coming out yesterday and saying that the ACC conspired against them when they are a pseudo-ACC member? Like, what are we talking about here?
They were in the ACC that COVID year.
They won it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they are literally in every other sport, aren't they?
It lets football trumps everything, and that's maybe the best example we've ever had of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because what he said is not wrong. I mean, ESPN and the ACC are kind of they're partners and all that, and the playoffs were really a lot of the ESPN people were kind of pushing for Miami to get in over Notre Dame, and he's not wrong. But it's also was the right thing to do because Miami beat them head to head. Notre Dame's a better team. Notre Dame could actually win the national title, but they, when it came down to that last spot, you had to give it to Miami because they beat them, and on the field results have to matter.
Pretty incredible, isn't it?
But it is interesting. 3 years in a row, Alabama has been right on the cut line, and 2 years they got in, and last year they didn't. But they're not always in the field. Even Alabama post Saban is kind of on the cut line of making the playoffs, and I find that really interesting and welcomed.
And very welcome. And it would have been hilarious if they'd have gotten left out because truly When you can't run the football like they can't run the football, Matt, they got about as much chance of winning the national championship as James Madison does.
Well,
It's the Bubba.
James Madison and Tulane have zero.
Zero.
No,
Bubba and
Bama
Bessemer
can't run
effect.
the ball. And it's what got them beat against Oklahoma.
Yes.
It's what made the LSU and Auburn games closer than they needed to be.
It's what should have gotten them beat against us.
And it's what will get them beat here in the playoffs too.
Yes. -3. That's pretty hard to beat. -3. That's a number that'll stand in the ages. But thank you guys. Appreciate y'all. As Matt texted us the other day and said there were 14 SEC teams that outrushed Alabama over the weekend. Because if you didn't play, you're better than -3. I mean, -3, goodness, great. -3 is what I think of. Well, never mind. Love you, appreciate you. If you missed any portion of today's, I guess, award-winning activity, I don't even know what this is. Are we devolving into something now? But we're going to run it back for you here on the one, and run it back for you because it's a lot of fun. And today's program was, good time well spent, I would say. I do think there's a chance that, at some point that news is going to break out. We're going to have to break in on this DC. Who want to say OC because I think I'm OC DC. I'm at least something. Let's see here. Spectrum in Philadelphia. Odd in Buffalo. Spectrum in Philly.
You found Radio Free Tennessee. Your Tony Basilio show will begin momentarily. Keep it locked in right here at TonyBasilio.com and on your Tony Basilio app. And hey, do us a favor. Spread the word.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
I want to encourage you to head over to tclub.team today, where we write about the guy I think will be Tennessee's next defensive coordinator, perhaps by the end of today, as I'm getting ready to put on our Twitter communique for folks to see what we're doing here. Vols have their defensive coordinator and what it could mean. As I welcome you in, we've got TGMD in the house along with Brian Hartman. We're all pretty excited today. Hey, Heupel gave us a jolt. I've also dug into the backstory on this deal and what it all means. And but we believe the Vols have their defensive coordinator and what it could mean. We're going to project ahead for you a little bit here, as we are wont to do. And it's an interesting little deal here. Obviously a developing story. Obviously, I'm not going to speak in absolutes because he's not hired yet. But I'm going to give you what I think is going on because, there's a time and a place here. So, if you look on today's blog over at tclub.team, what you'll see is there were two names at the top of that list. And one was the slam dunk. This is who's going to get hired. unless something strange happens here. And if that's the case, then the James Madison defensive coordinator becomes the next one on the mic. Talking to people just all around the sport, talking to people around this thing today, getting a sense for where this is going, communicating with people that are on the beat, etc. It is my belief here as we sit here on Tuesday that Tennessee's defensive coordinator, barring the unforeseen, and again, you never know with this stuff, but I think they're crossing the T's and dotting the I's. All signs are pointing toward Ryan Walters being the DC. Now, I'm not going to put a timetable on it because I'm not going to play God here. But I do know this. There's an urgency in doing this quickly, according to people I've talked to around Heupel's deal, because they don't have – Heupel's been very methodical when it comes to filling these spots. They don't have the time to do that today because you've got the transfer portal. And this person they're going to bring in may want to bring his own people with him, may want to bring some players. Ladies and